All right. Once again, good morning and welcome to the National Social and Emotional Learning Conference for Educators 2025. My name is Peace Bamidele and I'm going to be your host today. It's an honor to be doing this third year in a row now. And I want to thank you all for joining us this morning. We have an exciting package. It's going to be inspiring. It's going to be insightful and it's going to be memorable. It's going to be historic. So if you know somebody that should be here, please begin to send the message, begin to forward them the Zoom link if they registered. We have a lineup of activities today. So please, let's get some excitement. I can see the excitement building in the chat room already. Thank you all. Where are you joining us from? Good morning. Joining from Lagos. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, let's do this welcoming activity. Where are you joining us from and what are you excited about this morning? What are you excited about? What are you impressed about? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? All right, so post the following in the chat room, your location, your name and your location, of course, as well as what you are most excited about. All right, let's do that. Let's do that while we wait for a number of people to join us. We're still expecting quite a number of people that have registered for the conference to tune in. All right. All right, I see Vion Amusu. How are you? I'm joining from Lagos. Good to have you, Vion. Aminat Bakari. I'm glad to be here. I'm listening from Abuja. We have Tolu Lokwe saying from Lagos. Awesome. Ugofumi from Abuja. Glad to be here. Oluwabusola Kupola from Ogun State. Awesome. That's the first person out of Lagos. Let's see. We have Goodness from Liverpool. Okay, that's outside of Nigeria. Awesome. We have Imemba Ijoma from Lagos. All right. We have Prof in the room as well. Professor Yonika Adeosho all the way from Lagos. Thank you, Ma, for joining. We have Meme from Canada. Wow. Okay. That's outside of Nigeria as well. We have Fini from London. All right. So this is a global event. All right. Don't mind the fact that we have said it's national. All right. It is truly a global event. It's an international event. We have Agatha from Abuja, from Ibadan, from Port Harcourt, Kemi. Wow. This is going to be a blast today. Thank you all for this excitement. We have Adedoyin from Ipaja, Ngozi from Lagos, Oladokun from Ogun. Okay. The room is getting interesting. Let's build excitement as we wait for more folks to join in this morning. Just post what else are you looking forward to learning? What are you most excited about? I'm looking forward to somebody that would say that today you are most excited about life, about joy, about your work, about being here. What are you most excited about? We have Andy from Bauchi. That is awesome. Thank you for joining. Oladokun from Ogun State, Barakat from Lagos State. Let's just keep that going in the chat room as we build excitement today. All right, we have a packed schedule, and I want you all to stay tuned. Also, as we go on today, okay, we're recording this already. Uh, I want to do a bit of housekeeping so that we all just get started today without disruptions, okay? Ensure that you keep your mics muted, all right? It's going to be a long ride. We don't want our speakers to be interrupted midway while they are speaking. So please keep your mics muted throughout the conference. Only the speakers will be able to speak, actually. Also, please pay attention. We know this is a virtual event. So there's a tendency to be distracted by what is going on in your environment. Maybe you are trying to attend to somebody. We're going to be here from now until 12:30 p.m. Okay, so please pay attention. Make the most of this session. Many things the speakers will be sharing, the panelists will be sharing. That'll be very insightful. You want to take notes, all right? Which is the next point. Take notes, all right? Take notes. Some action items you want to act on immediately after today. All right, you want to quickly jot it down. I have my pen and my paper here. All right, just ready to make some notes. All right, for some of the decisions I want to make with respect to the foundation. All right, and then of course ensure you engage in the chat room. Make use of the chat room. Connect with people. I can see us already doing that. Yabo from Lagos, Olubumi Adewakon saying from Lagos State as well. And there's going to be a recording after as well. It's going to be on the Marquillos Foundation YouTube page. That is going to be sent to all folks who have registered. Okay. So please engage, all right? And after today, please practice what you hear. Practice, all right? The value of knowledge is in the practice, all right? We can go on and say so many things, but if we never practice any of these things, there's no value. So I want to encourage you all to take something home with you today. take something with you, something that you know will be of benefit to you, that you want to begin to practice in your school, in your classroom, in relationships in your life, so that this becomes a part of you. SEL is not something that you just learn and put in your head and nothing, you don't make any sense or make any use of it. So I want to encourage you to practice what you listen, what you hear, any points that strikes you, that connects with you. Be sure to jot it down. Be sure to action it. All right. All right. Are we good to go? Are we good to go? More excitement in the chat room. We have more people tuning in. Please ensure that you forward the links to your friends. We want as many people. We have over 300 people who are registered for this event. So I know that it's early Saturday morning. So I also want to use this opportunity to say a happy International Women's Day. All right. For the women that are on this call, we celebrate you. We see your work. Thank you for all you do for mankind and for the world globally. And may you be strengthened to do more. More grace is released to you for more. Moving on now, we don't want to waste any time. This is what I am passionate about. This is what I'm excited about this morning. We've been doing this for the last 3 years. Actually, for the last 4 years. We started in 2021. The first edition of the National SEL Conference was in 2021. We couldn't, for some reason, do it in 2022 and 2023, but we kicked off again in 2024. And we're here again now. And I'm just excited about what you can see on your screen, okay? Earlier in the year, January of 2025, this year, the #1 organization of SEL on SEL globally recognized Marcellus Foundation, and of course, by extension, my work in the space and what we're doing. They spotlighted the conference, spotlighted some of our programs, such as the Ambassadors program, which we're going to talk more about later on. And I'm just so excited that this is being recognized. The work is spreading, the gospel is spreading. And I'm excited about the panelists we have today, the speakers, very passionate about what we do. They are committed to spreading SEL in the country and even globally. So this is what I'm excited about. And this is part of what drives me to continue to do this, to continue to invest my time, resources, effort for free, all right? To just train and mentor people across the world, educators. So please, that is what drives us. And I just want to set the tone this morning to just give context. Some of you may not be familiar with SEL. I won't go into details, all right? We do that at our Ambassadors program, where we mentor teachers for 6 weeks. But if you are new to SEL, these are the 5 competencies of SEL that you should be familiar with, all right? When you hear social and emotional learning, when I say SEL, I'm referring to social and emotional learning. So when you say SEL, these are the 5 competencies, okay? Social awareness, self-awareness, of course, social awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, all right? These are the things we want teachers and educators and students to develop. These are the skills that matter in the world of work today. And so there are many ways, many approaches to achieving this, but eventually this is the goal, so that we can prepare ourselves and prepare the students in our classroom for the world of work, to get them to be resilient, to get them to be ready to take on the pressures and the demands of the world, okay? So today you're going to be hearing from all the speakers are going to say all kinds of things from different angles, from different areas. But at the end of the day, we want you to know that these skills are the skills we want educators that attend today, and even the students that they get to teach, to learn, to cultivate, to imbibe, all right? And why we're doing this at this time of the year is because this week is actually the week of SEL globally, all right? It's National SEL Week. On the 3rd of March was actually the International SEL Day, all right? That was earlier in the week on Monday. Is International Social and Emotional Learning Day. So we are choosing this weekend to close out the week on social and emotional learning. And we have been doing that consistently. Last year also, it was during the week of SEL that we had the conference. So we are connecting with global conversations. That's what we're doing here. That's why it is happening now. And we're so excited to have you all join us today. We're in for an exciting time. So with that, we're going to get right into what we have today. And it is my joy and honor to invite to the room somebody who has been a a sounding board, a mentor, and a support structure to this work at the Maquilos Foundation for decades. All right, she has been my mentor. She has been when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Lagos. She was my lecturer, my instructor, and since that time, this is nearly 20 years after. She has been a constant sounding board. She has been a support structure. She has been an inspiration to this work. And I just want to thank you so much, Mark, today for what you do. All right, she's right now in the room, and she's the board chair, all right, of Maquilos Foundation. All right, and I'm just excited to have her speak today. Okay, so she's going to be giving us the opening remarks. Okay, and I'm just excited that she's constantly just ensuring that she's showing up. She's speaking. She's getting us all the. You're going to get inspired by what she's going to share today. All right, and I'm just thankful to you, Professor Oyenike Adeosun, for joining us today. So I'm going to turn it over to you now to give us the opening remarks. Okay, over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Peace. Thank you so much. Good morning from Lagos. Good morning, everyone. Like you said earlier, this is actually a global event. It is not just a national conference. And having that at the back of my mind, I quite recognize everyone joining us from the different time zones. He has mentioned so many countries. I'm happy to be here. I want to welcome all the hardworking and committed teachers, educators, school administrators, other educational professionals, parents, and other critical stakeholders, in the field of education. I'm quite honored and happy to be here with you and to give the opening remarks. I am particularly thrilled to know that we have so many committed teachers. It told me as the last time we discussed that we had over 400 people registered for this event. So we are expecting that more people will join us as soon as possible. So if you have your friends who had registered and it's not yet on, kindly chat them and tell them we are live and they should join us as soon as possible. It would be nice to have a lot of people being part of this great event. I'm particularly happy to have teachers, especially joining us at this conference to explore a crucial aspect of learning that has far-reaching implications for our students, our success as teachers, as well as every other life sources. Let me also especially appreciate our experienced and seasoned experts that Macmillan Foundation has already gathered to take us through the exciting learning journey of today. I am sure it is a journey that will transform our lives, our professional lives, and our social lives as educators. Earlier, I referred to, SEL as an aspect of learning. Let me apologize for that. Let me just apologize for referring to SEL as an aspect of learning. Describing SEL as an aspect of learning does not do justice to the radically stimulating theme of today's conference. You agree with me that the theme of today's conference is very radical, and I will justify it. The theme says, all learning is social, promoting skills that last for impact that endures. It is radical because it tells us if there is no social emotional learning, there is no learning. And I'm sure some of us will be thinking, what does it mean? We've been learning a lot of things right from, time immemorial. What's the importance of this SEL now that we're talking about? And we're saying that when we don't have SEL, we don't have learning. But this theme actually tells us the truth that learning is not just about academics, but also more importantly, about developing the socio-emotional skills that enable us as teachers, educators, and our students to thrive in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. The position we need to understand and engrave into our mindset is that if there is no SEL, there can be no learning taking place. And this, we have to engrave it in our mindset before we even look at the second portion, even of the theme. And that is promoting the skills that last for impact and that endures. In doing this, we must task ourselves with creating frameworks, policies, models, and pathways, strategies that will activate and practice and sustain these truths to succeed as local and global educators. I call this year's theme radical because when we look at the build-ons of SEL conferences organized by Mark Willows over the years, the earlier conferences had been on promoting awareness. But this time around, we're telling people that it's no more just about awareness. It is saying that SEL is not the afterthought of education. It's not the add-on. It is not the hidden curriculum, like we experts used to call it. But that we have recognized that the traditional boundaries between academic learning and social learning are actually blurring. SEL skills are no more add-ons, but essential competencies that underpin academic achievement, career success, and personal fulfillment. The pillar of learning, therefore, demands commitment and action from us. And I'm asking us, how are we going to respond to this? Let me reiterate why SEL is very important. Its significance lies in the nature of learning itself. Learning is not just about acquiring knowledge or skills. It's about developing capacity to navigate the complex social situations, to build strong relationships, and to manage emotional behaviors in a way that promotes well-being and success. When we prioritize learning, what do? We're teaching our students how to behave and interact with others. But we are also teaching them to learn, to adapt, to thrive in a rapidly changing world. We're teaching them to develop growth mindsets. We're teaching them to take risks and to bounce back from setbacks and failures. But SEL is not just about individual students. It's about creating a positive and inclusive school culture that supports the well-being and success of all students. It's about recognizing that every student brings their own unique experiences, perspectives, and challenges to the learning environment, and that every student deserves to be heard, to be seen, and to be valued. So what does this look like in practice? What does it mean to prioritize SEL in our schools and our classrooms? It means creating safe, inclusive, and supporting learning environments that foster a sense of belonging, agency, and purpose. It means being very intentional about our teaching and about the teaching of self skills, providing opportunities for students to practice and applying these skills in real-world contexts. It requires full integration and infusion into our curriculum, into our resources, our classroom activities, and our routine practices as educators. It also implies that SEL is not just about students, it's also about us as educators. It requires us living and modeling the skills and supporting our students to do the same. It also is about recognizing that we are not just teachers, but we are also role models, mentors, facilitators of learning. Further, since charity begins at home, it demands parental involvement and homeschool partnership for successful learning. And vital to all these requirements is providing the educators with the training, the support, and resources they need to prioritize learning in their own practice. And I must say, McWillows Foundation is doing extremely well in this regard. So maybe you use your emojis to actually clap for the foundation. As a teacher educator, what are my roles and responsibilities? Because I always say that me being a successful teacher, change begins with me. So what are my roles and responsibilities in promoting SEL? First, within the framework of my institution, the National Universities Commission, the Nigerian National Universities Commission, had just developed what we call CCMAS, Core Curriculum Minimum Standards in education. And through the CCMAS, they had mandated that every program, every university program, integrates SE-related competencies in their programs. And these competencies were exclusively, mentioned: communication, interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, behavioral attitudes such as emotional, social, and cultural understanding, and sensitivity. So rising to this, mandate, my faculty has been able to infuse some SEL skills into our programs. Let me give example with my department. In my department and within my specialist area, we have a course now titled Social Emotional Learning in Language and Literature Classroom. Apart from this, I also engage my students in related research projects. Let me give you what happened last session. For my already graduated students, we had a theme of looking for SEL concept in English language textbooks. What we did was to explore selected English language textbooks that are popularly used in Lagos State schools and look for instances and skills of SEL as already embedded or integrated in these textbooks. And my students actually came out with very profound findings. One, we discovered that we don't need to, as teachers, we don't need to start looking for SEL resources anywhere. They are already integral parts of the textbooks, in the comprehension passages, in the activities and tasks given to students, in the writing activities and so on, in the grammar activities. There are already salient competencies of SEL that are embedded in most of these textbooks. What is left for us as teachers is to be able to recognize them when we see them. Not to only recognize them, to also exploit them in supporting, our classroom activities. And I'm sure by the time we come out of this conference at the end of the day, we'll be better equipped to do that. Now, at today's conference, McWillows Foundation has assembled seasoned and experienced educators who will delve into the best practices and innovative strategies for promoting SEL in our schools and our communities. However, this conference is not just about knowledge sharing, but also about community building, where we'll build a community of practice that is committed to a more just, equitable, and compassionate educational system. So I invite you this morning to learn as much as you can, and also enjoy you to move the conversations beyond here and now, Because, like I always tell my students, for every educational concept, the discussion should not end there. In fact, it should be an opener to further discussion and so on. So we'll move the conversations beyond here and now, and we'll reiterate our commitment to SEL and respond through our actions and practices subsequently. So lastly, in my capacity as the board chair of Macwillows Foundation, I declare this conference open under the guidance and direction of the Lord Almighty. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Come on now, come on now. Let's give it up for Professor Oyenike Adeosho in the chat room. That was excellently done. Put me back several years when I was under tutelage as a student, an undergraduate student of University of Lagos, just learning from a very brilliant mind, well articulated. We really thank you, Ma, for that very profound opening remarks, very well captured, and has just put us put us in a very exciting mood to hear more, to want to learn more. And I just want to say thank you so much, Ma, for doing what you do. I know we've worked closely over the years to achieve some of the milestones. And I don't know if some of you heard what she said. At the national level, SEL is now a big deal. All right, they are ensuring that even in at the higher institution level, trainers, teacher trainers, people who are training to become teachers or educators, they need to learn. I'm just so incredibly excited when she shared that news with me. I couldn't help but, I mean, I had to reach out to my wife and said, "Can you hear that? This is a big achievement. There's a course on SEL right now at the University of Lagos. That is a big deal." And so I don't think that we're here to play, all right? We're not here to just while away time. This is very huge. And I'm just so excited to hear all of this progress in SEL that we're making as a nation, as a country. And thank you so much, Professor Oyenike Adeosho, for making that possible. You most likely are one of the pioneers of SEL in higher education, higher institutions in Nigeria. I can say that because I know that is not a common thing right now when I started. So thank you so much for setting us up so well. And I'm sure we're ready to dive even deeper, dive even further. So without wasting any more time, we're going to go right now to the keynote address. And I'm just so honored and incredibly excited this morning. I can see her right there in the room already. We have a seasoned and expert educator in the room. When I reached out to her on LinkedIn, I was very hesitant. I wasn't sure she was going to be able to do this, but I just said, let me just try. Let's just try, okay? Part of what you learn in SEL is resilience, okay? Social awareness. You just keep going and just try to see if people would respond. And so I'm so excited to know that Mrs. Rhoda Odigbo is in the room. This is an award-winning educator. This is an expert by all means. This is somebody who is pushing and advancing SEL in Nigeria and globally. She's a practitioner. I've met with her on some international SEL programs online. We just see each other in rooms randomly. I say, "Oh, she's here. Okay, yeah." So when I see how passionate she is about SEL, it just makes me very hopeful and excited about Nigeria. That yes, we're not the only ones preaching this message. This is somebody who owns it, who lives it, who talks it. And so without saying so much, let me just read a bio and then I will turn it over to her. Rhoda Odigbo is the head of Africa programs at Kizazi. Kizazi is a global education nonprofit that supports the development of breakthrough school models across the world. Kizazi's whole child development program has produced results in a nationally tested RCT, where students and their teachers are gaining learning outcomes with significant standard deviations. All right. SEL is a core integral approach in Kizazi's theory of change, and with student and teacher well-being at the heart of their work. And so Rhoda is also currently the vice president of the Professional Association of Curriculum Theorists in Nigeria. She's the co-founder and president of Learning Craft, an education organization focused on supporting the public and private sector in achieving inclusive and equitable whole school education systems towards nation building. So as you can see, she's been doing this for a while, and she's an expert. She's a learning strategist and curriculum theorist, an advocate for inclusive school systems that build an ecosystem rooted in the science of learning. She's a culture of care and relationships for meaningful learning experiences. She has special interests in digital literacy, social, emotional, academic learning, and green education. national social and emotional learning educators from all over the world. I want you to give a warm welcome to Rhoda Odigbo this morning to give us the keynote address. Thank you so much, Rhoda, for joining us today. All right, over to you, ma'am. I'll put
Thank
your
you.
slides right now on the screen.
Yes. First of all, I want to say thank you, and I want to really just take a moment to clap for you, for just being a solid human being, someone who is anchored on what really matters in education. Peace, it has not been an easy journey. I know this personally. I know it. And anyone who has met Peace will know that he's an embodiment of social and emotional learning and resilience and problem solving and collaboration, creative thinking. You want to see him work. You want to be mentored by him. So thank you so much and congratulations on, again, another successful National Social and Emotional Learning Conference. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's not even a question piece. It's like, it has to be. You say it, I'm there because you said, because it is you and it's what you do. And I just want to, again, say thank you to Professor Adeosun. Professor, I don't know if you remember, you taught me. So I know you very well. And I'm just so proud that we are here now, that we now have SEL as a course. I didn't experience it. We Akokites, we didn't experience it. I mean, all through the years we went through our undergrad, our postgrad, we didn't experience it. So congratulations and thank you so much. Without much ado, I did put a few slides together, but I'm just going to go ahead and share the what I have for you today. So good morning everyone. I know we're global, so good morning to everyone, every distinguished guest, educator, policymaker, anybody who is an advocate. I know we're going to see a number of ambassadors today. It is an honor really for me to be here with you today. And even though we're doing this virtually, it is profound and to discuss a topic that is not only very close to my heart, but also the future of education and human development, period. The theme of this conference, All Learning is Social and Emotional, is deeply with me. And resonates deeply with the challenges and all the opportunities we face in our world. Like explore this growing significance of SEL, and I'm glad that we're here today talking about why it is critical and why it's important and why we must, and really just discussing maybe a few emerging trends, and there will be more to explore and bring on the table as innovators yourselves, and shifts also that are shaping the field. I like to say it this way, that SEL is no longer, it is a must-have in education and beyond. And because this is primarily because research continues to show us that SEL skills, all those skills, and I'm sure you hear about them. We call them competency areas because they are competency areas. Skills such as self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. These skills are truly foundational for success in school, at work, and in life. I like to say that SEL's competencies are the only competencies you need for just the way you learn mathematics for the apply chemistry for the apply what companies works, what you captured about around SEL. It has been, and kind of is like a
I think Mrs. Rhoda's internet is experiencing some challenges. Rhoda, can you still hear us? Let's give her some minute. I know she had to switch environments earlier today. She has another speaking engagement happening right about now. So she's not in a very great place to take this call. But yeah, hopefully she's able to get a great place. She has so much to share with us, as you can see from the slides. Let's just confirm she's here. Rhoda, can you hear? She's back in now.
Yes, I am back. I apologize. Where did you hear me last from? I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah,
Where was I? Did you
you
hear?
were
What
still
was the last thing?
you were still setting up the stage with respect to her SEL skills being very relevant, and you mentioned a couple of them.
Okay. Yeah, so I mentioned that the SEL skills that we are all talking about are those competency areas that are critical to success in life, in school, and at work. And I was saying that SEL competency areas are the only set of learning areas that you need from birth to death, period. And data has been collected, what we call meta-analysis. And meta-analysis conducted by KSL, who's here. If you don't know KSL, please today you must know KSL, okay? KSL is a collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning. Everyone should know that organization. And this data is a meta-analysis. And anything when we say meta-analysis, we say for simple words, it's a group of research studies that has been focused on a specific topic, in this case, on social and emotional learning, and what its impact is on outcomes for students, for life, for work, for thriving, for whatever it is that but in this case, we're focused, this research was actually focused on finding out how SEL impacts academic achievement. And what was found was that, and if you look at it, that was on your slide, you see how many countries were involved. You see that they are the gold standard of research, which is randomized control trials. I'm not going to go into that, but on your own, you can research it. What was found that students who participated in evidence-based SEL programs showed an 11% increase in academic achievement. This is not about grades. Let's not get it twisted, but it does do a lot for grades. It's not about grades. It's about creating lifelong learners. Even according to the World Economic Forum, the top skill that employers will seek today are all SEL skills: critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence. All of these skills that are the top skills required for work and going forward are all nurtured under SEL. Another study by OECD, and you should know OECD, right, revealed that students that have social and emotional learning skills are more likely to experience better mental health, higher job satisfaction, and greater civic engagements as adults. That's what we need in our country, particularly. And all these, findings actually just tell us one thing. They underscore the transformative power of social and emotional learning. It's not even just about preparing students for tests. It's really about preparing them for life. Now let's look at some emerging trends. As I look to the future.
Let's give her a minute. Let's give her a minute. We're gonna get all of this out of her, okay? All right. That's part of the challenges with virtual events, okay? Sometimes your internet can decide to have a mind of its own. All right, but we're gonna get there. Okay, let's just give Rhoda a minute to join us back again because I think she was logged out. Rhoda, are you there? Rhoda, can you hear us? Looking at the emerging trends in SEL now. Let's give Rhoda a minute. Give Rhoda. It's part of what you learn in SEL, all right, is to be, apart from being self-aware, also self-management, all right? So these things happen. Let's give Rhoda a minute. She's out of the room right now, and just hopefully she joins us. But I'm sure you all are already gleaning a number of insights. For those of you asking if this recording will be available, yes, it will be, all right? And Rhoda has also graciously said we could share these slides with everyone. So expect an email from everyone, from me, from us, from the foundation, the slides from this opening remarks and even the keynote address, all right, will be shared with everyone. And of course, the video and the recording will be available. Seems like we have Rhoda back in the room. Okay.
Please, you have to forgive me.
That's fine.
You have to seriously forgive me for that. I don't even know where I stopped right now.
Emerging trends.
The emerging trends. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good, the emerging trends, right? Okay,
yes,
all right. Okay, so let me continue there. All right, so I was sharing about the emerging trends, and I was saying that some of these trends, as I look into the future, will continue to shape the world of work and our lives, right? And these trends reflect the growing recognition of of SEL and the potential it has for us to build better, inclusive, supportive environments for everybody in our learning space. So the first one is in the integration of SEL with academic learning. Just as the prof has declared, schools are increasingly embedding SEL, just as it's been done now at the highest level. This is even amazing for me particularly because when teacher educators or student teachers take these courses, then they begin to, find it as an important and critical component of what they must do in the classroom. So for example, math lessons now include collaborative problem solving, right? Literature classes, for example, explore empathy through character analysis. This kind of integration is very, very, very critical, and it ensures that SEL is not just an add-on, but a natural part of the learning process. On equity, another emerging trend is that there is now focus on equity and inclusion around the world. SEL is being reimagined to address any systemic inequities we have. So all the programs we see now are now designed to be culturally responsive.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. All right. We're testing.
Meaning that they ensure that all students reading things feel seen, heard, and valued. And this is our strength. Can you hear me?
Yes, go on. It broke for a bit, but we got you. Go ahead.
Oh, my goodness. Technology must not deal with me today. So, and the next emerging trend really is technology, and I hope technology just acts up. Technology and social and emotional learning. There is this rise of edtech tools, and they are coming up and they're revolutionizing SEL. So we have apps, we have platforms that are being developed to actually teach mindfulness, actually teach emotional regulations, and even conflict resolution. For example, we have virtual reality. The virtual reality now is being used to stimulate social scenarios that help students practice empathy, help them practice decision-making in a safe environment. Very critical. Now, we also have another emerging trend around SEL in the workplace. So it's no longer confined to the schools. No longer confined to schools. Companies are now beginning to recognize the importance of work in innovation, in creativity. So if you think about, like I was just looking at Google's search inside yourself, Google is actually training employees in mindfulness and emotional resilience, proving to us that SEL is a lifelong journey. That's what they're seeing, that learning spaces, classrooms are now beginning to support SEL the way they are designed. This year and going forward, education will no longer be a one-size-fits-all, whether we like it or not. SEL is not just expected to so we're seeing better classroom environments, flexible furniture. You see, spaces that make it possible for group participation to do. So we now see classrooms harming colors. We see areas for pause, very critical. And they all these features are what are they trying to achieve? They're saying in our learning spaces, students need to feel a sense of safety, a sense of well-being, and that promotes their learning and emotional growth. And finally, this global movement that peace is anchoring. Just think about it. First of all, peace is holding space for the national conversation. But then he's also holding space along with me, and I call him a comrade, on the global movement for SEL, the International Day for Social and Emotional Learning. We celebrated it this week, and there's no surprise that Peace is hosting this same week because it's SEL week. This is a testament to the global recognition of SEL's importance. Countries around the world, and we're going to get there in Nigeria, are adopting SEL frameworks. All of them, all the big ones, UNESCO is advocating for it. Seriously, they're advocating for its inclusion in global education policies. I can go on and on about that, but I wouldn't because I know we have a lot to do. And let me end with the shifts in perspective. So as we embrace these trends, what are the things that we must acknowledge? So we must acknowledge some of these shifts, okay? especially how we view SEL. So we have to start to think, so the first shift is from soft skills to essential skills. No longer dismiss it as soft or secondary. No. We no longer do that. It's now recognized as an essential skill for navigating the complexities of our world today. Second shift to my perspective is from individual to collective impact. SEL is now no longer just about individual growth. It's about building really compassionate communities where we teach empathy and collaboration, and we create that ripple effect that extends beyond the classroom. And the final shift for me is, rather than be reactive to it, oh, let me just plug in and one thing or the other. No, we're now proactive about SEL. We're saying traditionally, we have seen that in the past, we've said SEL is usually introduced in response to crisis, such as maybe when there's bullying or mental health. And then some people will just come together, okay, let's talk about this, create what bullying week. Well, those are good. Today, we're taking a much more proactive approach, embedding SEL from early childhood to prevent these issues before they arise. And I'll just close by saying the growing significance of SEL lies in its ability to equip individuals with all the skills that they need to thrive, particularly in a world that is changing. And so these shifts, these trends that we are witnessing, whether it's the shift or trend of integration, technology, workplace, whatever it is, they are all paving the way for a future where SEL is now at the heart of education and human development. So as we celebrate and we have this conference, we want to commit, let us all commit to fostering SEL in our schools, in our homes, because of course we should model what we should, as they say, practice what you preach, and in our workplaces. And so together we can create that world where every individual has the tools, yes, tools required to build meaningful relationships, make responsible decisions, and contribute to this world. Thank you so much, Peace. Thank you, everybody. I hope the internet has not been too crazy for you to get at least the meat of what I was trying to communicate,
Yes.
but thank you.
We
my
got
pleasure.
the meat. We got the meat. Thank you so much, Rhoda. That was beautifully done, excellently done. So many priceless gems that she shared there. I'm so grateful to you that you have allowed me to be able to share the slides with everyone, because I think there are so many high points there that people need to emphasize. I really love how you're able to contextualize SEL, that this is not just an add-on. This is the real deal. Like a quote once said, it is not just it's not just another item on the plate. It is the plate itself. SEL is the plate. That is the real thing. This is what makes. That's why we have termed the theme today. All learning is social and emotional. If there's no social and emotional learning, there's no learning taking place. All right. So I loved how you brought in the global perspective from the workplace, even employers of labor. Everything, there's a revolution happening in SEL. And hopefully we're going to bring you back again, because this is the first time we're having a keynote address at the National Social and Emotional Learning Conference. Typically, we just go straight right after the opening remarks. We just go right into the panel session. But I think this has added more color to the conversation and brought a lot of perspective, especially hearing from an expert and a thought leader. So definitely, I'm glad that we're resilient enough to take in all that you had to share with us, despite the technological challenges. And of course, we would share the slides and the recording with everyone. So thank you so much, Rhoda. It's an honor to have you again. Hopefully, again, I said we'll bring you back into the room. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are going to move along right now. We have so many more things lined up. Okay, so I don't want you to rest your oars. I don't want you to get tired yet. All right, we have so many speakers still lined up. And right about now, I want to bring into the room somebody who, wow, you're going to be impressed by. This guy is doing big stuff. Anytime I just see him online, anytime I see him just doing big stuff, I'm saying, I need to be like this guy. If I wasn't doing what I was doing right now, okay, I'm probably going to be like this guy I'm about to chat with right now. I'm sure most of you already know him. He won the Multina Teacher of the Year award in 2018. This guy's won global awards. He's been all over the world. He's traveled widely. He's spoken at different events. Let me just read his bio and then I'll bring him to the room. His name is Mr. Olasukomi Okpeifa. Mr. Olasukomi Okpeifa is a passionate educator. with nearly 2 decades of transformative teaching experience. He's renowned nationally and globally for his creative, out-of-the-box teaching methods. He has earned prestigious accolades, including the Martina Teacher of the Year Award 2018. Hopefully, we're going to hear a bit about that today. He earned also a top spot in the Global Teacher Prize. So this guy is not playing nationally, he's playing internationally. He has also won the Big Crystal Pen Award, all in recognition of his innovative approaches and impactful community initiatives. And this guy has not stopped, all right? I recall a couple of weeks ago that he toured Northern Nigeria, over 5 or 6 states in Northern Nigeria, training educators from city to city, from state to state. As the convener of the phenomenon, Olasunkanmi unites educators to inspire change and foster excellence in teaching. His mission now centers on empowering teachers to maximize their productivity and potential through consulting and coaching. He also hosts Teachers Daily Devotion. I follow that every day, consistently churning out value on LinkedIn. All right. This guy is somebody you should follow. All right. Where he uplifts and equips educators with tools for both professional and personal growth. Folks, educators, it is my joy and honor to welcome to the stage Mr. Olasunkanmi Okpeifa. We're going to be having a fireside chat for roughly about 20 minutes. And what we're going to be exploring is the SEL secrets of high-flying educators. By no means, this guy is a high-flying educator. I'm sure you can, from what I just read and from what you're going to be hearing him share, he has done most of what all of you may want to achieve, all right? So I want you as an educator, if you are listening to him, just open your heart to drink from his wisdom. Let me turn the floor over to you now, Mr. Olasunkanmi. How are you doing today, sir?
Morning, Mr. Bamidele. Thank you so much. I mean, that was so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I'm really fine this morning. Yes.
That's good. That's good. This has been a long time coming. When the thought about inviting you for a conference came to my mind, I said, yes, by all means. And I mean, I'm just so honored that you are available to do this session today. I know you are very busy. You have a tight schedule. Gone are the days where you think teachers are supposed to just be in the classroom teaching. All right. There's so much more you can do. Writing books, delivering keynote addresses, traveling the world. This is what Mr. Okpeifa has done for several years. And so let me just jump right into the conversation about this topic, SEL secrets of high-flying educators. Tell us, how did you find your passion in education? You've done quite a lot. I remember when I was a teacher, I started my career as a teacher, and I wanted to be a teacher, but some other things just get you distracted. But of course, I believe I'm in the right path. Okay. But you have stayed the course for years, for decades. All right. You've done so much. How did you find your passion, and what has kept you consistent over the years? Share with us. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Peace. Thank you. And I must thank you for not coming to the classroom. Probably if you had come into the classroom, some of us would not have found our voice. And I'm going to start with you. Sometimes in 2017 or 18, I don't know. I think we were attending same church there, but we never knew each other anyway. You had this program, LTC, Lagos Teachers Conference. I couldn't attend, of course, because I was in Abuja, but I was able to download everything there. And coincidentally, I was to face a panel of about 6 or 7 professors all across Nigeria to pick the best teacher in the country. And I didn't know how to prepare. We were told to prepare. When you got a call and you're like, prepare, you are coming for a competition. So I went to download the John Lewis book. I read almost everything. But one thing I did differently was that I downloaded almost everybody you invited for the program, and I listened to them back to back, everyone on the street, earphone, to the barber shop, earphone. In the night, I was just listening. And all the questions I was asked, almost about 70% came, I got answers from the inspiration I got from the speakers. If you had been in the classroom, Bamidele, I probably would not have the opportunity to get all those inspiration from there. So thank you. You are doing a fantastic job. So quickly now, let me go to the question you asked. I chose to be a teacher when I was just 8 years old, and that's probably where the calling came from, when God called Samuel and then called me, okay, go into the classroom. I'm just joking anyway. So I used to read a book called Ilesanmi Social Study. And I would sit in front of this book and I would imagine myself teaching my peers, understanding the real context of the book, and then teaching them sometimes in Yoruba language, sometimes using analogies in my head, nothing really physical. Then I knew it then that I think I would love to be in this profession. Fast forward to year 5, that's the primary 5. A teacher asked us to write about ourselves, and then I wrote myself and everything. And then he returned all the text of other, the notes of other students, and my own was held back. I thought I'd even committed an offense. Then he asked me to stand up in the middle of the class. He was also on the other side in the middle. And he asked the entire class to clap for me that I was the only one that chose to be a teacher. And let's say that was the calling in primary 3. This was not the beginning of the passion in primary 5. And since then, you may ask me actually that what do you want to become? I would lie, banker, medicine, because of course you dare not tell anybody you want to be a teacher then. Somehow I told my father about it and he made jest of me. Somehow, thank God for the government. You know, all things work together for good. I don't want to really be spiritual so much here, but I think it just goes in that direction now. Abu Samalami became the head of state and increased teacher salary. And that became something my father saw and he felt, oh yeah, the teacher, you want to be a teacher, yeah, come and let's talk about it now. Then went to one of his friends there, and then he started from there. Then my brother put education for me in the UTME and UME at that time. And then today now I am a teacher. Now, where did I find my voice? I mean, with people like you, if we never had programs that we have been holding, somehow probably some of us would have really remained very quiet there, doing it in a very small way. But thank God for people like you that really showed the way. You came out there, you held the largest ever. I don't think anybody has broken that record so far. The largest gathering of teachers in, let me say in Africa, or let's just put it in Nigeria. And thank you. So that's how it all started. And it has been fantastic since then. I don't think I've done any other thing other than being a teacher. So I'm going to give room for you to ask questions while I respond.
That is amazing. Wow, what a powerful story. When I conduct our social and emotional learning ambassadors program, where we train teachers, one of the things they do is to watch a video about the impact of SEL as a child. They get to reflect on a video about the impact of your teachers that taught you when you're in primary school. Tell us about a teacher who impacted you. And it's just incredibly refreshing to hear you share how the seeds were sown early on, all right, in your experience back then, 8 years old, just being a teacher. You saw teachers, you saw what they did, you were inspired by what they did. And that's a note of encouragement to teachers, all right? These students are observing you. They are watching you. You are lighting their candle, you are lighting their fire just by doing what you do. And not just even teachers, anybody who is doing anything worthwhile. Okay, when I was putting together the Lagos Teachers Conference 2017, 2018, it was just excitement, or I want to impact the world, not knowing that even just the diligence of putting together speakers, the diligence of putting together that conference or putting together a team is going to inspire somebody who is going to go on to inspire the world. All right, so I really, really appreciate your sharing, and I hope and trust that even right here, right now, all right, these conversations we're having is sparking the fire in somebody, is encouraging somebody, is causing you to begin to see things differently. It's causing you to want to become an award-winning educator like Sukomi. And so thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go to this very next question related to SEL. In your own experience, how would you say SEL has really helped you or impacted you and helped you to become a better educator? Or the awards you've won, the consistency you demonstrate on social media in your career, what SEL skills have really helped you? How have you leveraged SEL to become a high-flying educator?
All right, thank you. Quickly, can I confirm if my voice is okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's a little muffled, but I think it's audible enough for anybody to hear. All right, I think it's enough, so we don't spend too much time on that. I could hear you quite well, but if you want to do anything to make it better, that is also fine. Yeah, but we can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Okay, we need to unmute you. Just a minute. Yeah. How about now?
Right. I don't know whether it's better now.
Yes, you're good.
Right, okay. Thank you very much. So the question you asked is what SEL element or factor helped me, if I'm correct with the question, right?
Correct.
All right. So I mean, just from the story you heard now, the first thing that really helped me and I held on to is the first element there, which is self-awareness. My ability to actually discover myself very early. And I never wavered. You know, it's in our classroom, we have all these intelligent students in the classroom, and they want to be everything. You will hear them say they want to be medical doctors, but somehow I was able to discover myself, and all my direction in teaching went, in career discovery and everything went in just one direction. So basically, and anytime I enter the classroom, one thing I do is, regardless of the subject I'm teaching, the student must be able to discover themselves from the lens of what I am teaching. It's not enough for me to teach you grammatical names and functions. It's not enough for me to teach you summary writing. It's not enough for me to teach you whatever in English language or literature. But can you actually find yourself from the lens of what I am teaching you? Can you see yourself how you can function as a medical doctor? Can you see yourself as you can function as an accountant, learning summary in my class, learning comprehension and everything? So communication becomes very key when I'm teaching you English language. I'm not just teaching because you want to pass WAEC or not, because this is not just what I'm teaching you there, but because what has helped me discover myself. So secondly, if I'm going to tell a story around, is social awareness. Sometimes in 2008, when I was about to graduate, one of the things I had said that I was going to discover the best teaching method in education. But at that point, I wasn't really getting. Of course, 4 years, we were leaving the school. I had not even gotten anything. All they told us were field trip, demonstration method, all the methods you can imagine they taught us in those days. Early in the morning, maybe during the morning devotion, I woke up around 4 a.m. and I was just meditating and thinking seriously about it. And a book I read many years ago, Interplay, came to my head about empathy. And I was like, if I could actually step into the shoes of my students and walk in their shoes, I would be one of the best teachers on earth. And that was it. That's okay. I think the best thing is for me to look for what the children would like and let me step into it. So that becomes, I discovered that social awareness some days ago because I want to come and talk here. What I have been calling it is empathy. So when I went through what Rhoda Digbo talked about, the Castell theory and the rest, I said, oh, this is under social awareness. We've been calling it empathy, basically. Anyway, so I tell people the best teaching method is empathy. Step into the shoes of your student, see things from their perspective, and then you solve it. So an example in the classroom one day, I was teaching English language one very tired afternoon like that. The students were tired, the teacher was tired too. Then I wrote introduction on the board. I think it was essay writing. Then I said the first thing you are going to do in English language when you are writing your essay is introduction. First of all, and one quote unquote, those students you always call stupid boy, from the back just said, first of all, it just said introduction, and that was Olamide's song. And ordinarily, I should get angry and even flood the hell out of him that day anyway. I think we were allowed to do that then. But I saw that, okay, that should be the key to break this boredom in the classroom. I stepped straight into his shoes and we started a lesson that, yes, first of all, introduction. Then you go down low to the next paragraph, which is part of the song. And when you are now tired, you ask yourself, are you a learner? And you go down low again, the class just erupted.
Wow.
Tell us again, tell us again, tell us again. I said, oh, this is what you like. Then I remember a lecturer who used to teach us in a way in university in those days that would say, Badaga, Mana, around oral English. I think he picked that thing from Professor Adetubu in Unilag. I used a lecture in last two then. Then I now realized that if I couldn't get computer in the class to teach stamps, I could actually rap about it. And this at that point, all these MI songs that were everywhere. Students wanted to rap. So we started rapping with something like Badaga, Mana, Larawaya, and then the students were like, oh, do it again. So basically, I was just being empathetic because that is who they are, that is their perspective, that's their culture. So I stepped into their culture and then I kept on teaching from that perspective. And it's been very fantastic. The performance of the students that used to be around 11%, as when I joined the school, jumped from 11% in English language to 69 point something, almost 70%. The record is still there. One day I brought it out and I checked and said, no, something really differently worked here. So basically, those elements were just three things: self-awareness for me, empathy, which is under social awareness, and self-management. At a point, I discovered that flogging the children will never work for me. I started to manage my own emotions, and I was able to connect with them. And today now, I ask teachers every day, can you employ your own students? If I could sit down here with light on me and everything around me, the head boy of my school that I taught poet, rap and the rest, fix everything light around me. And most of the things around me in my house, you will see that one student or the other are the ones doing it. So basically, that's just those elements: self-awareness, social awareness, and self-management.
Wow, incredible. That is incredible. That's a lot of value there that you have just shared in terms of practical ways to really leverage SEL, how you've used it to really transform your classroom. And I really love how you started in terms of knowing what you want and going for it. All right. Many people try to do so many things. You're not staying focused. It's when you stay focused, you know what you want. That's self-awareness. You're able to go for it. And that's how you're able to even find value and unlock the value in that environment. The Holy Book says the land of a righteous man has a lot of good, but he doesn't mind that value because he's not disciplined enough to take the potential out of it. So, and that's what you have done. You've really seen the value in the field of education as a teacher, and you've zoned in on it, and you've really escalated it to another level. And so thanks for sharing that. I hope you all are taking these notes, self-awareness, social awareness, connecting with your students. Beyond teaching the mathematics, beyond teaching the literature in English or English language, you need to find ways to begin to connect with them meaningfully. And just as a segue to that, as a continuation of that thought, would you be kind enough to share with us? I know you've touched on it a bit. What practical strategies? All right, you've shared the story, you've shared some of the insight on how you use self-awareness and social awareness. Right now, can you share with us strategies educators can use to integrate SEL in their classroom? I know you've touched on English language, but even as a high-flying educator, people want to win awards, all right? In some schools, they don't pay them as much as well. They want to travel abroad. I see you going to the USA. You've been to different places. How can SEL help my destiny? How can I travel abroad as well? Make me win all these awards. How can I position myself as an educator to take advantage of opportunities globally? Because teaching is getting a lot of attention right now. And so what should educators be doing? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. Maybe you want to invite me to where you are now so that I can equally travel again. All right. So, okay, I'm also going to tell a story around that. But before then, so you can only give what you have. So you as a teacher, basically, I mean, thank God Rhoda will share the slides with us all. And then I think it's just important for you first as a teacher to go online and search for all this knowledge. So one thing I did in 2017, in 2016, I applied for Multinational Teacher of the Year. I didn't even hear anything, let alone being whether I was the best in my local government or on my street. But I got those questions and I looked at it. I discovered that they were not the regular things we would expect from a teacher. Something around classroom management at the deeper level, something close to this cell, where the questions around the Multinational of the Year question, the question, the same thing with Global Teacher Prize and other awards there. So what that told me at that time was that no, you've just been teaching the way you were taught. I think you just need to change it now and then focus on all these questions that can you practice them in your class, put them together, do research on them. Then I started going online on my own. I would just go online, read as much as I could, then go to the classroom to practice some of these things, okay? Just be sure that, okay, I'm teaching the children differently. I remember reading a book many years ago on customer love. But then asking myself, in this classroom, who are my customers? At that particular point, not their parents, being a public school teacher, my customers at that moment were my students. So how much do I love them to do this? So these are things I picked from books. So you as a teacher, if you really want to stand out to practice the strategy, is starting from you first. How much do you have within you to even chunk out? It's not theory. It's not no. It must really be embedded in your heart, and then you come out to now express yourself that way. And secondly, then you need to understand the demography of your students. You don't just come to, I mean, I found myself in like three situations. I'm going to explain that. I've taught in one of the very interesting public schools in this country. If you know Kuma Hills, you know what I'm talking about in Adamawa. I've taught in the very semi-rural area. I've taught in very big private schools in this country, and I've taught a little bit outside the country. All these areas, one thing I did differently that made me to stand is that I always find out to understand who they are. I remember when I was in the US, in Atlanta, and a teacher that I was, who is shadowing you now, I was in his class just for like 2 weeks, and then he asked me to come and teach satire. Now, being a Black community, I had to quickly understand that. I think this guy really want to connect back to their roots. Satire in Yoruba is Orientiyeri, for those who understand. There's this fantastic song around it, like that. And somebody who loves entertainment anyway. So I had to translate the song not really translate it, do a cover of the song in a way, in English language, like when you hear, when you hear, but it's a satirical song. Do not go right, do not go left. So I sang that in a class in Atlanta, a Black community, and that was the entire school went to back Two teachers invited me again to their own classroom, a Nigerian and another, a white lady, invited me. And then the students were meeting me at every corner and saying that, Mr. Ola, we learned that you did this in a particular class. Can you come and do it in our class too? I was able to connect to their root because that's their demographic. That's who they are. When I found myself in a big private school too, it was a different thing. What the children wanted to talk about was pride of who traveled out, who never traveled out. To God be the glory, they have traveled out to 1 or 2 countries too. But I was able to connect with them at that level. So you as a teacher too, you just don't take our theory here and go and implement. You can go and sing this song in another school and they will send you out. So you need to understand the environment first, get the knowledge, understand your demography, and then let your subject, as I said earlier, be laden with self-discovery. Let the students be happy to always want to come to their class, to your class, because they can see themselves better every day when they come to your class, regardless of what you are teaching. Physics, chemistry, biology, you can always get that creativity that, okay, there's a way you can connect physics to the real life. They walk into the school, right? That's physics. You can connect to their real life, and then before you know, they are discovering themselves more and like that. So basically what you do is learn and imbibe enough. Understand your students' demographic, their understanding, their social and their cultural understanding there, and then let them keep on discovering themselves in your classroom. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of award. Now, opportunity will always come when you are now prepared. It will knock on your door. One day you'll be asked to come and tell your story. And then you are telling your story and somebody is listening to you. All this I'm telling you now were things I told them at the Multimedia of the Year. The professor there almost fell down on his chair when I was telling all this story and then rapping in front of him there. And that was it. And of course, I knew I was going to win, even though there was a little bit doubt. But to an extent, the opportunity now came, then I could tell my story. But if you have not been doing this at one corner, the opportunity will come and you always be telling them, I have passion, and your passion will not be able to save you that day.
Wow. I hear commitment, I hear creativity, I hear passion, I hear innovation, I hear resilience, I hear flexibility, adaptability. I hope you all are picking this. I've been training folks on soft skills and social and emotional learning for many years. And so when I hear stories that capture these skills, really, really inspiring. Just hearing you share what you did. And it's not just teaching, all right? If you're an educator here, gone on the days where it's just taking the curriculum, taking what you want to teach for the day, and then say, okay, I'm done. I just teach. What else can you add that will inspire the students? Don't forget that these students they see things on TV, they watch news, they are going through all kinds of things at home. All what is happening in the economy, in society is also impacting and affecting them. Emotionally, some of them have lost their loved one, they've not even eaten all day, and then you are teaching mathematics. How can you spice things up in the classroom? How can you make them excited about what you want to teach? That is what SEL is about. It's the plate. It's the real deal. And so thank you so much. In closing, I don't know if you mentioned you wanted to share a story. If there's any inspiring story you want to close out with on how SEL really showcased transformation. What SEL, I know you've shared a lot of stories already, and that is really appreciated because people can see that these things can be done. All right, we're not saying you should go to the moon. All right, it's possible. Little things there. Those are the things that make an impression and leave a lasting legacy in the minds and the heart of the students. So if there's any one story you want to share about the transformative power and potential of SEL that you have seen at work in the life of a student, in the life of another teacher, would you care to share that with us as we round off this session right now?
All right. So one thing I would like to talk about here is the power of collaboration, okay, which comes from under social awareness. Again, when you understand your environment, you connect, and that's one thing I always want to encourage teachers with. Peer-to-peer learning is one very powerful thing that students learn better from one another. I mean, most of the time, you are also from your perspective. Give them the opportunity to hold the chalk. Give them the opportunity to stand in front of the other student and teach them. I mean, I enjoyed this a lot. There was a particular time I was distracted to get something done outside. By the time I came back to the classroom, the class captain had taken over the class, and I just stood somewhere and she did the class. If possible, I could give her my salary for that day. She did it very well. But that's not even the story. Some years back, I know I had this little challenge with some of my colleagues. When I won Multimedia Teacher of the Year, I felt I was not celebrated enough. I mean, they were side talks here and they don't know what they went to bribe them because the Yoruba man, because from the north. I mean, different things. So I felt a bit like that. Then opportunity came for me to withdraw from them. That was when I traveled around, and then for about 4 months I wasn't really in the school. But by the time I was coming back, I really reflected, and I think I should actually pity them, because if they knew what I knew, they would probably do it in my own way too. So I got this collaborative opportunity for my 1 million teachers. Then I brought it to them. Now, this is a story. The story is not what the fact that I gave something to them. So I was able to now take them through the courses, and which included all this SEL, meta cognition, collaboration, empathy, and everything embedded there and more with them. You know, in a matter of just like 1 month, the school became a good haven for me to walk through. Before, I used to be very shy and afraid because by the time you walk, you say it's proud. If you walk tall, you are proud. If you walk short, you are proud. So I was hiding. But because I now gave them what I was eating, it became something that all of them could come out. I mean, we had our own cult of a kind. But so that's the power of also carrying others on your shoulder, collaborating with them and moving on with them. And that really worked. Okay, so that's a fantastic story. If you go to that school now, I was able to connect with somebody who is far older than me, that now took it upon herself to now train others. You talked about going to the Northeast. You know, it was this woman when I was busy in Port Harcourt that took over the entire project. One person I trained in the school took over the entire project of 6 states. And then imagine I never did that. I never collaborated with them. I never did anything with them. Probably would have lost that project. So basically, one inspiring story for me, how SEL could work with collaboration, empathy, and the rest is peer-to-peer learning. Encourage it in your classroom and encourage it among your colleagues.
Amazing. That's such a great way to round off this session. I hear collaboration under the competencies of SEL. We call that relationship skills. We also call that social awareness, connecting with people. All right. One person can unlock a major door in your life. And so the world is not an island. And that's why I really appreciate Dr. Adeosun when she said, as you're preparing for this conference, ensure that you connect with educators, with award winners, with Martina Teacher of the Year award winners, and just ensure that we invite them to the table. And that's collaboration, because that's how you advance something. All right. The world is not just about doing things by yourself. All right. This is how you scale initiatives. And so with that, I really want to thank you, Mr. Olasukomi. We can go on and on. Maybe one of these days we'll do a 1-hour session. You have a lot of energy and passion and stories and examples. That is when you know a thought leader. That is when you know an expert. They're not just about theory. They have practical examples to share with you. And I really just thank you so much for joining us this morning and spending part of your day with us today. Definitely, we're going to have you back here because, I mean, look at the energy in the chat room. Can we just give it up for Mr. Olasukomi Okpefa today? I know that he has a busy, tight schedule, but thank you so much. And please follow him online. This guy has over 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. Over 30,000. So people really love what he does. The teacher daily devotion, all of the incredible wisdom that he shares on LinkedIn would benefit any educator anywhere in the world. So I want to urge you. I follow him. I see it. I read it, and just stay informed because he's sharing things that are consistent with SEL across his platforms. So thank you so much, Mr. Olasukomi. We really appreciate you today, and hopefully we'll connect again soon. All right. Thank you. Have a good day. All right. Okay, how is it going, everyone? I hope we're enjoying what we've been sharing so far. We have so much still lined up, and I know that this has been value for your time so far. I see all the comments in the chat room. I see that you're all valuing this. I want to take a moment to also acknowledge and recognize some very esteemed people in the room. We have some doctors and professors from University of Lagos, colleagues of our dear board chair. I really want to thank you all for joining us today. This is such an honor to have you in the room as thought leaders, as experts in the field. The value you are bringing to just be here, because we know by extension this is also going into the lives of the students that are under you. As you hear some of these things, you're able to see that, oh, there's more. What I'm teaching the students in this classroom, these are things that are really needed in the world of work. So we really thank you so much for joining us this morning. Okay. That being said, we'll go on right now to a very exciting part. We want to spotlight one of our SEL ambassadors before we go to the next fireside chat. So we have a program called the SEL Ambassadors Program, powered by Maquilos Foundation. And over the last 2 years, we've trained over 100 educators. We certified them for 6 weeks. This happens in the month of August. And then we certify them and they go into their communities, go into their schools to begin to teach. One of them, in fact, has trained over 100 educators in Kano State, okay, Mr. Ibrahim. And we have a number of other people who have conducted trainings in their schools, in their classrooms, a number of people who are consultants right now. And so we want to take a moment to just hear from one of them today, all right? Just a short session before we go to the next fireside chat. And to anchor that session, we're going to invite a dear friend of mine. Her name is Korede Omolenwa. She is a dear friend. I've worked with her for several years, and she's an executive member of Marquillos Foundation. So I'm going to turn it over now to Korede to anchor this session and welcome our ambassador. Korede, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Peace. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Just give me a few seconds. I just want to adjust something.
Go ahead. I can see all the great comments in the chat room. Please keep it coming. This has been an amazing time so far. And we're going to have time for feedback session later on to be able to get your feedback. All right. So please stay tuned. All right. We're going to have Korede join us now and have her pass it on to our ambassador. Okay. Korede, over to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think your audio has to come out a bit. Just a little projection so we can hear you clearly.
Is it better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you so much, Peace, for the opportunity to do this. And I just want to applaud you for all that you've been doing. I've been able to watch the journey, the Marquillos journey from the beginning, and I just commend you and your consistency. And I just pray that you achieve greater heights in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so moving on to the next item on our agenda, we're going to be shining the spotlight on one of our outstanding SL ambassadors, like Peace mentioned. She's an educator who has successfully implemented SL training, for teachers and students in our school. So she'll be sharing our, inspiring impact story with us. But before we welcome our ambassador, I've been asked to, just take a moment to share my own personal experience with SEL, just to help us illustrate the profound impact that SEL has or can have, not just in, the educational setting, but in our lives as individuals. I remember one of the speakers said that SEL is something that you're going to do or learn or be with, interact with from birth to death, regardless of wherever you are. So I just want to share a personal story. And it's going to be on the fact that, what research has been saying. Research shows that when you master these SL competencies that Peace had mentioned earlier, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision making. When you master those skills, it has a positive impact on a wide range of outcomes, including academic performance, healthy relationship, mental wellness, and all. But I just want to dwell on the impact it has on relationships, right? How SL has helped me as a person. So sometime last year when I was ill and I'd walked into the hospital just to get, just to get checked, right? It wasn't supposed to be anything serious. Go get checked. The doctor will see you, the usual drill. They will see you. You tell them what's wrong with you. They'll prescribe some drugs and they'll tell you to go and rest and all that. So I thought it was one of those things. So I went to the hospital on Thursday. Doctor saw me. He said they're going to run some tests Thursday and then Friday, and then I'll come back on Monday to get my results. And then I went back the next day to do the second test, so I'll just leave and then come back on Monday. But as I stepped into the hospital on the second day, the doctor said, no, you can't go home. We need to admit you immediately. That your blood level is very low. So for context, my blood level, I think it's called PCV, it was 20%. And the usual range, the normal range for women is 35 to 45. So my level was 20. So
Already, just a minute. Can you speak up more? Because folks are struggling to hear you. So it seems like the audio is a little low. That story must not be missed. There's an inspiring lesson for us all there. So if you can project just a little more so that we can hear that story and get inspired.
Okay, is it better now?
Yeah, just a little. I think it's something has to do with the device you're using. So that means your voice has to go further more. All right, let's go.
Okay, I'm going to try. My voice is aiming to be high, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to the hospital, like I mentioned, and I was supposed to come back 3 days later, but the doctor said, no, you need to be admitted immediately, that your blood level is low. they need to do blood transfusion, right? And when I heard that, I panicked for two reasons. One, I don't really have family members in Nigeria. I have just one family member, my dad, and he's an elderly person. Most of my friends have jackpot. So I didn't really have, in my head, I was like, who do I call right now to be with me? And the second reason why I panicked was I wasn't mentally prepared for that admission. I was literally going to go back to work after I was told, after I came for my test. So I panicked, right? But I just remember that I have a community, in church. I have a community in church, and I built that community over a period of time. Sorry, apologies, please. Sorry. Apologies. Apologies about that. I had to click. Someone was knocking on my door. Okay, so I reached out to someone in my community. I just sent a message. I'm going to be in the hospital. I've been admitted. And it was just one text I sent. And that one text literally saved my life because the person rallied people around me, right? For something that was supposed to be an ordinary admission turned into something that almost killed me. I had crazy complications in the blood transfusion. It turned out that I was giving the wrong blood. So when I was giving, my body was reacting to it. And I had seizures, I had some complications, my body was shutting down. But there were some people that came to see me during that period. Again, now I mentioned I don't have family members in Nigeria, so they didn't have to be there, but they took it upon themselves to come and take care of me, care for me. I remember there were people that actually took rosters to come and see me in the hospital. There was a time that there were many people in the hospital, and the hospital had to say, we can't take more people. You guys need to go back, or you come back later, because that's how people showed up for me and everything. And when so they were supposed to give me 4 pints of blood, and by the second and third pint that I said was really crazy, that was really disastrous, they had to take me to another hospital. Again, I don't have family members. Again, at this point, I'm unconscious, right? It was these same people that took me down. The hospital the hospital was already in its own state. They didn't even have an elevator, and I was on the 4th floor. These people carried me down 8 flights of stairs down the hospital to another hospital in the middle of the night. At this point, when I get to the hospital, my blood level had dropped to 17. From 20, I dropped to 17. So I had half of the blood that my body required. My system was shutting down. There was no pulse in my body. They had to, when they got me to the next hospital, they had to connect, because they couldn't find pulse in my body. They had to connect a vein, a pipe to my heart so that they could pass the blood to it. And the reason why I'm sharing all this is because all this happened because of the relationships that were around me. Now we can say that, it's not important, it's just church. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? But this relationship literally saved my life. If they were not there, I don't even know if anybody would know what happened to me, because it would have just been me in that hospital. I remember when I was having a seizure and I looked at the corner of my eyes, the doctors were just standing. They didn't know what to do. They were literally just waiting for me to die. But because these people were in the room with me at that time, they were like, we need to get this girl out of here. They carried me. If I went I didn't even know where they were taking me to. I was semi-unconscious. I was just like, God, please, wherever they're taking me to, just honor it, because nobody knows where they are taking me to right now. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because relationships are important. We need to recognize how important relationships are to us and how they can literally save our lives. It's not just to get good grades. It's not just we're not all going to be in school always. We're not always going to be working, but we'll always be relating with people, right? So it's very important that we build and maintain healthy relationships, and one of the ways we do this is communicate effectively, resolve conflicts. When things are not happening, how do you treat people? How do you show empathy when someone is talking? Do you just dismiss them, or do you speak over them? Have great communication skills, have great cooperation. Someone talked about cooperation and collaboration. Are you the kind of person that when you walk into the room, everybody just walks away? Or are you the kind of person that people want to be around? How do you resolve conflicts? It's very, very important. And this is going to help us not just to become successful in our careers or successful people, but just generally being a successful human being. And I also remember that even still on this relationship, I still kept in touch with some of the doctors and nurses that attended to me, right? So it doesn't just go, it goes beyond, the people that you're familiar with, right? So I just want to encourage us as we go into this conference, be open-minded. Don't think that it's just about your career and about your education. There are some things that you're going to pick up that are necessary for life. And one of them is, how you would develop yourself, how you develop your relationship skills, right? So
Yeah,
now
that
this
is
is just
awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. And before you call our ambassador, I just want to take time to highlight some of the basic things you mentioned there. Like beyond just teaching the subjects that we teach, we have to ensure that we're also teaching the students how to build relationships. These are the relationships that matter. All right. It's not just about being the best student in class, being number one, winning all the awards, like Mr. Sukomi also said. Build relationship, leveraging on collaboration skills. If she didn't have all those people around her, she probably would be dead by now. When she shared this story with me, I just literally saw SEL in action. That as we are teaching the students, all right, great to have mathematics skills, great to have all of these skills. Sometimes a job interview, all you need is one person that you know and can trust. Reach out to them. So build relationships intentionally. All right. So let's pass it on to the ambassador now. But yeah, I'll leave you to introduce her accordingly.
okay. So I'll be introduced. I'm honored actually to introduce our ambassador, one of our ambassadors for the SEL program, and she's going to be sharing about how she's used SEL to transform our community, our areas. She's going to talk about our approach to teaching and the positive impact that SEL has had on our students, our teachers. She's an education consultant here in Lagos, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Promise Umeakalu. Can we have some virtual claps? Welcome, Promise. Over to you.
Promise, do we have you in the room? Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Can you hear me? Can you see
Yes,
me? I
we can
don't
hear you.
know. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Promise Umekalu. I'm a SEL ambassador. That's my certificate on the screen there. And that's me. It's nice to be on this platform. So I'm an educational consultant. I'm currently doing my master's in University of Lagos. That's master's in educational psychology. So I'm basically in training too. So I was going to go straight into talking about the classroom, but then let me talk about presently where I am, because I'm actually in school. I just took out a few minutes to come do this. So I'll go back into the classroom. So we actually did our SEL mentoring program in 2024. That was last year during the halls, and it was exciting. I met Mr. Bamidele for the first time, and presently he's my mentor. I basically respect him. His program has impacted me greatly, and being a part of the institution is something it's transformational for me. So one exciting thing, let me say a bit about him that actually impacted me was his drive and his passion for what he was doing. The fact that he came at no cost, and then he was given so much. I could even say he was giving his life for it, because you could see he loved what he was doing, and he was a practical example of social emotional learning. So let me quickly go to talk about school. So in school, I sometimes the thing about social emotional learning here is it first of all changes you, then it changes your world. So that's what I realized. So I'm in school, and there's a lecturer giving notes online, and I make provisions for those that will not be able to copy notes. I know there are people that will struggle maybe via online notes and taking it. So I basically type and send to my learning platform, my learning group constantly. The idea wasn't to show, but because I know that there are people that will struggle. So we're writing our exams. I went and I printed extra copies of each of these notes, knowing that some people joined the program probably a month to the exam, and I've made hard copies already, and I just posted to the group that if you joined a month before now, that you can reach out to me. I have hard copies at no cost. So I just realized that my social awareness has gotten to the rooftop. I didn't know that. So it was changing me. I was changing. So people are there and saying, oh, I would like to be like you. You're very nice, and every other thing. I didn't do this. SEL did this. it changed me. Like basically, I don't recognize myself. That's how much it has impacted me. So let me go to the school I work, I consult for. So we have over 30 teachers there, and we kicked off with the social emotional learning and the training and getting used to the core competencies, and it was exciting for them. We treated practical examples the way I was taught, because I learned a lot from practical examples. So we handled it, and then they were excited. So it was important for them to impact it, work around it with the kids, the learners, which they were doing. And so a few days back, we had another meeting with emphasis still on social emotional learning. I realized that my teachers over there, over 30 of them, that when it comes to self-management, when it comes to self-awareness, they have already achieved those competency levels. And I was excited. I was happy. They could say, okay, this is my weakness, these are my errors, and these are the strategies I'm going to put in place to work on this. It was a big plus for me. It was all social emotional learning. It wasn't me. I was really happy about it. And then a few weeks back, we had our SS3 leadership training, and then we talked about them. We were getting them ready for the tertiary institution, and we ensured that their competency level was also getting to the rooftop. And aside that, presently for the third term, we're going to be having a meeting very soon. And so the management team, we came up with a plan that we're going to be using the competencies as themes for each of the assembly themes. Are going to be the competency level. So, for example, we're going to be starting with relationship skills, and everybody who are in the school is going to be all about relationship skills, and would ensure that the children have it's already part of them. They are exhibiting it before we go to the next skill. And lastly, to wrap up, I also imbibed in them. So there's something we do in the school. We do a kind of circle time in the morning for the primary, and we call it mind brew for the secondary. And so what we do is basically social emotional learning and the competencies, trying to move around it, trying to see what they think about it, trying to see how we can grow, how we can make ourselves better. Thank you so much. And for schools that are yet to relate with SEL, you're missing a lot. I'm still doing some free trainings. So if you're a school and you know that you probably want your teachers to be competent enough, you can reach out to my mentor, Mr. Bamidele, and I'm sure you will reach out to me, and then we can come and see what we can do for your school. Thank you so much. At no cost, please. At no cost, basically.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Promise. That was excellently well said. This is why we do what we do, all right? Even though it's at no cost to you, all right? It's coming at a cost to us because we're putting all the time and effort, because we know that you're going to use these skills to advance your classrooms, to advance your schools, to advance the society. SEL is very, very exciting, really. And I'm just humbled and honored to hear your story, Promise, about how it's transforming you as a person and how it's transforming your classroom and even the teachers you're sharing this with. So really thank you and appreciate you for spotlighting SEL there and just taking it further, more than this. All right. We're going to talk more about the Ambassadors Project much later on and how you can sign up for this. But right now, we got to go to the next fireside chat. All right. I hope it has been value for your time so far. Okay. We still have a couple of sessions before we call it a day today. Without wasting any more time, I'm going to invite to the stage Miss Olayinka Adebayo, who is going to be anchoring the next session. She is an executive member of Marquillos Foundation as well, and she's a dear friend of mine, and we've actually partnered to even incorporate what is called financial literacy to the Ambassadors Project. So these teachers, when they join us, they are not just learning SEL skills, they're also learning how to be financially proficient, all right? And she takes those sessions. We started that last year as well. And so it's an honor to have her on the call already as she welcomes our next panelist. Over to you, Ms. Olayinka.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Peace. It's been such an amazing time since the beginning of the conference. Can you hear me clearly? Am I very audible? Yeah, okay, thank you. Good morning from Nigeria to everyone on the call, and thank you for joining. I mean, I've been attending this ever since the first edition, and I must say, beyond anchoring and participating in the conference, I've learned a lot. And just like Ms. Rhoda said earlier on in the session, you know, that SEL is not just something you need as an adult. It's not a sideline conversation. It's something that we must incorporate in learning from early childhood, to adulthood. It's so crucial, and I believe that even I myself, I've learned a lot, just integrating these skills into my day-to-day. I want to say thank you to everyone that has coordinated different sessions so far. It's been really insightful and really profound. And of course, thanks to the Mark Willows Foundation, to Mr. Peace Bamidele. Apologies, I keep getting a call. To Mr. Peace Bamidele, and of course to the leaders, to Mrs. Foyin, to all of the executive directors, to our dear professor, who has relentlessly just continued to offer our support to the Mark Willows Foundation and to what we do. Okay, so without much further ado, I'll be taking us further into the conference, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I think is very crucial. And I'm going to be starting with a story before I then call on the person that's going to be the expert that's going to be taking us through this fireside chat, and we're going to be gleaning a lot of insights. We're going to be gleaning a lot of insights from, and it's a story about a concept that a teacher had in a classroom called the body bench. So a teacher decided to put a bench in a classroom just on the side of the class. I mean, she had 30 students, and then she put a bench just on the side of the class. And what she said that, so for every time a student feels down, for every time a student feels sad, lonely, if a student feels maybe flustered or confused, that student can go and sit in that, on that bench. And it's not just about, the student sitting there and everybody laughing at the student to say that, oh, this guy doesn't understand something, or this guy, is confused. She said the next step you then take is that when you find someone sitting on that bench, someone, amongst the 29 or amongst the 28, the rest of the class, must take an initiative to go and sit down with that student and to ensure that the student is no longer feeling confused, is no longer feeling sad, is no longer feeling angry or lonely. And one of the things that underscored is that it's not just about, understanding the outliers within the class, but it's to understand that by understanding each and everyone's context, is to know that this person's learning is, and it just goes around the theme of where all learning is social and emotional. This person can't learn because this person is not socially okay, this person is not emotionally okay. And it's not just about us knowing that, oh, this person is an outlier, this person, is not part of what, this person is not grabbing stuff, but it's to know that how can we help this person as a teacher and also as students to ensure that this person is inculcated back into the classroom, and everything this person is learning, this person is able to assimilate. And so I'm going to be, and really that's the crux of what we're going to be learning as we go into the fireside chat. And the theme of this fireside chat is the compassionate classroom. And we're going to be hearing, gleaning insights from, a seasoned expert in that area, Mrs. Kemi Ogunsanya. And I'm just going to start with reading her bio, and of course, having her on. Okay, so she's already on. We can see her on the screen. You're welcome, ma'am. So I'll just read the bio, and then we'll just go into the questions. So Ms. Kemi Ogunsanya is a multifaceted award-winning educator and school leader with a remarkable career spanning more than 10 years and encompassing diverse roles within the education sector. In her current role, she serves as a pastoral coordinator involved with mentoring and counseling, as well as ensuring the social and emotional development of students. She is also an instructional designer who has created multiple courses and resources for educators and students. So you're welcome, Ma. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think if you can please help Ms. Kemi Ogunsanya, please unmute her mic.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's great being here today, and I'm grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ma. So, I mean, the theme of this conversation is the compassionate classroom, and of course, I think I have shared the story, but I'm sure that's not all to what the compassionate classroom is and means. So, I want to start off by just asking you, in your experience, what would you say a compassionate classroom is? What does that look like? What does that look like? And then, just as an addendum to that conversation would be that what does that also look like in a social and emotional learning context? Over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. So I think that when we talk about a compassionate classroom, it first of all stems from an approach that effective teaching is not just about delivering content. It extends into nurturing the whole child. It extends into the teachers recognizing that it's not just about math or biology or whatever it is that I'm teaching you, but catering for the students, connecting to them. When people hear compassionate classroom, because this is something I've spoken about at previous educational events, people think, oh, you're talking about a place where there's no discipline. You're talking about a place where anything and everything goes and boundaries are unclear. You're talking about a place maybe where there's no authority or there's no control, but it goes way beyond that. Again, I strongly believe that a compassionate classroom starts from a compassionate teacher. You're aware of your responsibilities, and that goes into everything you do, from how you plan and prepare for your lessons, how much of effort you're willing to put in to ensure that students have an engaging experience, what kind of instructional materials are you using, or are you that kind of teacher that just complains and says, oh, the school is not providing this for me, the school is not giving me that, and you just stay there rather than improvising. So how much of effort, how much of research do you do before every lesson? Or you're that teacher that is still teaching that subject the same way you've been teaching it for the past 5 years, not changing anything about it. It extends into how you give feedback to your students. Do you give feedback to a student in a way that the student receives feedback and the student just feels depressed? When I think about feedback, what I do, in my classroom, whether it's written feedback, whether it's verbal feedback, what I use is the sandwich approach. The sandwich approach is starting out with something positive, layering something in between, that negative character that you want to address, you layer it in between, and then you finish it up again with something positive to keep the student going. So extends into how you prepare for lessons, how you give feedback, how you assess your students. Are you putting informative assessments in place that are leading towards the summative assessment? Or you're the teacher that at the end of the term, you just slam up your students with questions that they probably know nothing about? Or you're just keeping your students at the lower order of learning? You're giving them questions like listing, defining, not higher order thinking questions. They're not creating, they're not problem solving, there are no projects. That's not compassion. You're not preparing them for the real world out there. So again, for me, the compassionate classroom is everything. Teaching, assessment, your classroom space. I believe that for me, my classroom space is like a reflection of myself. So I love to put in extra effort into making my classroom spaces look good, look really great. It extends into that everything you do as a teacher, how you manage relationships, how you build connections with your students, or are you biased and you're just focusing on a specific set of students? So for me, a compassionate classroom is a place where there's friendliness. The teacher is friendly, but there's also firmness. There's play. There's a lot of play, a lot of fun activities, but there's purpose to that play. It's a place where there's respect, but there are also responsibilities. It's a place where there will be empathy. I mean, the teacher is empathetic. You are modeling empathy to the students, but you also have expectations for them. You love your students. You show them love, but they are lost. I'm just going to wrap up with the fact that for me, for a compassionate classroom, I have an acronym that I like to stick with. And the C, of course, is compassion. I mean, compassion, connections. O is open-mindedness. If you're going to have or operate a compassionate classroom, as a teacher, you must be open to feedback from your learners. You're not just doing everything, you're the boss of the class. You're not listening to their opinions. You're not getting their ideas on how you want to improve things in the classroom. So open-mindedness, you're open-minded to their thoughts. You're putting in activities in place that allows them to have a voice in how things are actually done within the classroom. So the O will be for, the C will be for your connections and all of that. The O is open-mindedness. The M is for mindfulness. So mindful practices. I mean, it's something that CEL preaches. Mindful practices in different ways, from the kind of starter activities that you use, whether it's affirmations, all of that. I mean, that's what the M is for me. The P is positive reinforcement. What positive reinforcement are you putting up in your classroom for your students? I mean, even from showcasing the works or the things that students do, it's a way to make them feel good.
Sorry, is that me? Or I think we've lost Ms. Kemi for just a bit. So let's just give it some seconds for her to come back into the.
In terms of what we're learning, I think she's giving us an acronym. Can we go over that
Yeah.
again? Wait for her to join so
Yeah.
far.
So you have, thank you, okay. So I think if we just go over the summary of what she's been, how she's answered the first question. I think the compassionate learning, she said compassionate learning starts with a compassionate teacher. And really, she said she has an acronym, and the way she spells out compassionate in her context is the C stands for compassion and connection. O is open-mindedness. M is mindfulness. P is positive reinforcement. And I think one of the things I really, really liked about, what she said is that, just like I said earlier as well, that the compassionate classroom is not just a class without discipline. And maybe some teachers might think, oh, if I'm being too compassionate, I'm being too soft, I would not be able to. And it draws also from what, we've learned earlier in the session, right? How that, we have to put ourselves as teachers and educators into our students' context to know how to teach them. If they're not learning what we are teaching, then we have to be able to teach them in ways that they can learn. I think we have Mrs. Kemi back, so we're just rehashing what you had shared with us on the acronym, the compassionate acronym. So if you can just go ahead. We just lost you for just a tiny bit. No worries.
All right, I'm so sorry about the network issues I had. Yes, so I was on active engagement. I was saying that a compassionate classroom would be a classroom where the teacher is putting efforts to research on strategies to make sure that students are engaged. I mean, learning isn't boring to them. The S, so the first S will be a supportive environment. I mean, students come to the classroom sometimes with a truckload of emotions. You're able to identify their emotions, their mood. You're able to offer support to them. And then, of course, the next S is student-centered learning. This terminology is really common among us educators now. We all talk about student-centered, but are we actually implementing it in the classrooms the way that it should really be done? So a compassionate classroom is truly student-centered, focus on the students rather than just the teacher. And then I is inclusivity. I mean, these are points that I could speak on for a longer stretch of time, but just ensuring inclusion in your classroom. The O will be opportunities for reflection. I believe a compassionate classroom is a classroom where teachers must be able to provide opportunities for students to reflect over their learning, reflect over their attitude. When it comes to discipline, in a compassionate classroom, you're not punishing a student. It's how do I put it? It's growth over punishment. So if a student does something wrong, you're not just punishing the student to make the student feel pain, or kneel down there, or do this, or do that. We actually want the child to recognize what he or she has done, see how that behavior affects others or even affect himself or herself, and then change. So opportunities for reflection. And then N for nurturing growth, nurturing the whole child, which was what I started with. The compassionate classroom goes beyond delivering your content into nurturing the whole child.
Okay, thank you so much for that, ma'am. That's so powerful and very insightful. So I think you've also touched on a very good point, which is how teachers can build empathy when relating with their students. So I want to then I want you to speak on another level of building compassion within the classroom, and that's how teachers can use SEL as a strategy to equip students to also have compassion for their fellow students. So how can a teacher, leverage the SEL strategies we've talked about to ensure that students have compassion for one another within the classroom? And I think this stretches to things where we talk about issues in schools where you have bullying, and I feel like inculcating compassion, student-to-student compassion reduces those incidences within the classroom. Yeah. So if you can please touch on that.
All right, thank you very much. So one of the components or one of the features of SEL, for the classroom is morning check-ins, emotional temperature checks. For me, how do I do this in my classroom? It's through the use of starter activities. I believe the first 5 minutes of every classroom, the first 5 minutes at the beginning of every day in your classroom sets the tone for the rest of the day. And it applies to your lessons to the first 3 to 4 minutes of your 40-minute lesson or 1-hour lesson actually determines how the rest of the class goes. So what kind of starter activities do you put in place? I use puzzles, I use different kind of quizzes. I use Just Dance. If you're a teacher, you can check out Just Dance. So it has this fun kind of choreography dances that you can just put up at the beginning of a class and get your students to get up and just move their body, something like that. Now, by the time you use a lot of fun starter activities at the beginning of the lesson or at the beginning of a school day, and you see that student that is a bit drawn back, the student that isn't responding as maybe the others are, it's a way to know that, oh, something isn't right here. There's something here that I need to, put in place. Or you see that the student that is just grumpy, just moody, isn't flowing, with the activities that you're using to start your lesson. It helps you know that there's something more that you need to do. So emotional check-ins, the way you start out your lesson, the way you start out the day, the school day. For people who are class teachers, it's a way to help you, it brings emotional awareness to your class. You are aware of the emotional states, and then you are able to also offer the necessary solutions. I think another way will also be,
Okay, I think okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Another way will also be Okay. So another way will also be incorporating storytelling into your classroom. Storytelling, role playing. These things might look ordinary. You're just role playing a scenario or something, but there's something powerful that you can drive in through storytelling and even role playing in your classroom. Now, how do you do this? For me, as a literacy teacher, I do a lot of role playing when I'm teaching my students creative writing and other literacy subjects. When students are role playing scenarios or role playing, different parts of different books, they are putting themselves into the shoes of those characters. They are owning their emotions. They are seeing things from another perspective. One of the things I also do as a literacy teacher is I try to look for texts beyond just the Nigerian environment. I try to look for texts for my students that will make them learn about the Indian culture, the American culture, just learn more about different things. Let them know that the world goes beyond what they see right now. So your choice of text, your choice of comprehension passages, and this extends beyond literacy to even other subjects. So the choice of resources that we're using to teach can be an opportunity to make students get more exposed to the world beyond them and help them just sort of shaping up their perspectives about the world as a whole. And I think, again, it begins from us as teachers, being able to model these things that we say. All of the cell components, being able to model it, because you can't tell students to practice what you're not preaching, what you're not doing. So modeling it, whether it's empathy, just modeling all of those traits, and then they can follow up from there.
Brilliant. I really love how your answers are packed with so much practical insights. Like there are things that teachers can start to do from literally after this conference. So thank you so much. We're fast running out of time, but I think I'll close us out with one more question. I have another question that I think is very important, but so I'll just crave the indulgence of everyone to ask these 2 questions because I think they are very important. So the first one is, as a teacher, how do you draw the line between compassion and maintaining learning standards, especially in higher education? How do you do that? And then the second one is, and I want you to just maybe find a way to help link both answers together, is that you said that a compassionate classroom starts from a compassionate teacher. So that means that a teacher, I need to be okay to be able to be compassionate with my students and to even, nurture compassion in my students as well. So the question I have is, what strategies can teachers leverage to ensure that when they are bringing their whole and best self to the classroom, when they are coming to teach, when they are preparing their lesson notes, whatever it is. So I'd like you to please help answer those 2 questions as we round off. Thank you.
Okay, but can you go over the second one? I don't think I got the second question.
So the second one is, like you said, a compassionate classroom starts from a compassionate teacher. So that means a teacher has to bring their best self to the classroom almost every time when they show up. So I'm saying, as teachers, what strategies can they leverage to ensure their well-being, when when they come to the classroom or when they are preparing their lesson notes, just when they're doing the work?
Okay, so I'll start with the second question. Yes, so I've mentioned how as teachers we need to model all of these things. How can you make sure you're in the best state to deliver optimally? I'm going to just say that one of the answers lies with the use of technology, being able to incorporate technology to simplify your workload as a teacher. One of the things that causes the greatest amount of stress for us as teachers are, just the paperwork, the planning of lessons. You want to do your lesson plan, you want to find out resources to use, all of that. Technology is an enabler in different ways. It helps you to ease off some of that stress. So it helps you ease off some form of stress, whether it's lesson plan. We're in the age of AI. Use AI responsibly, of course, but we're in that age where you can go on AI, you can check out, okay, what activities can I use to start off my lessons in an engaging way? What resources can I use? You can prompt some of these things and get accurate responses. You can use, rather than giving assignments or tasks that are always written down in their notebooks, you have to collect a pile of books and start marking. What about giving short quizzes using things like Kahoot or Mentimeter, using things like that? Even your lesson planning, go online, check out things that will help you make the lesson planning process easier for you. Gone are the days when you have to spend the whole day just lesson planning, putting together your thoughts. Please use technology to make your work easier so that you're not always stressed. You come to the classroom excited and energetic.
Thank you. So the first question now, especially in higher education, how can teachers or educators draw the line between compassion and maintaining learning standards?
Okay, so I think it's about setting clear expectations. So I think it begins from setting clear expectations. You want to draw a balance between compassion and then really achieving what you should achieve in the classroom. You should be able to set clear expectations at the beginning of a new term or a new session where students are coming in. You should be able to, have that sit down with your students, draw out what the rules are. You're not the one leading that conversation. Together with them, you're steering the conversation. What are the things we need to do? What are the things we don't need to do? Setting your expectations in terms of how they relate with you, how they relate with their peers, the kind of language they use, the kind of words that they use, and then reinforcing those expectations in different ways. Whether you're going to use chat around the classroom, just to make sure that they see it every time they connect with it. And again, it just still boils down from you modeling everything you want them to do, every behavior, every attitude. It begins with you as a teacher.
Thank you so much. This has been really, really, really insightful, practical, and very, very rich. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you. Such an exciting session we just had there. For those of you that are still with us in the room, that has been so much value. Okay, if you would agree with me, can we celebrate Kemi in the chat room? Kemi has been a constant speaker from inception. Okay, at the National Social and Emotional Learning Conference, she's been coming back to back, and that's because she has so much value. All right, and thank you so much, Kemi, for joining us this morning again, and for Ms. Olayinka Adebayo for hosting that expertly. Okay, I so much value there. I know some of you may have to go back and watch the recording again, because what we have here are so many things that shouldn't just be heard, they should be done. Okay, don't just hear it. There are things that you should practically take as tips and strategies to transform your classroom. Many things are available right now. There's AI, but there are so many other things that she mentioned that you can begin to leverage to make your classroom more engaging, to make your classroom more exciting, so that students will want to come in there, so that students will want to connect with you more. They want to say, I want to meet, I want to stay in this classroom. They are not bored. They don't want to run away and say, I want to quit school. No, because you are making that classroom exciting for them. You are developing a relationship with them. So I hope you were inspired by that in terms of how to create a compassionate classroom. Please follow Ms. Kemi Ogunsanya online. She does a lot of training sessions. She has resources that you can leverage, that you can purchase to really amplify the conversation in your classroom and in your school. Now, without wasting any more time, yes, let's celebrate Ms. Kemi for that. I can see you all in the chat room. Very practical session, relatable things you can take Monday morning and start executing, okay? Now, we got to run along. We have less than 20 minutes or 25 minutes to the end of the conference, but we still have one more fireside chat. And this is an exciting one because it's going to be happening with my one and only brother. And I'm not saying brother in terms of, people say brother, they just use it as a concept, but this is my brother. Same father, same mother, okay? So it's a family affair right now that is about to happen at the National Social and Emotional Learning Conference. I'm proud and pleased and excited to welcome my dear brother, Goodness Bamidele, who is a vibrant and expert, is a vibrant and dedicated mental health professional who is passionate about enhancing well-being through cognitive behavioral therapy. So we have a psychologist in the room right here. All right, he holds a BSc and MSc in psychology from the University of Lagos as well. So proud Akokites in the room. And also he has an MSc in clinical psychology from the University of Plymouth. All right, with years of experience as a psychologist in diverse settings in Nigeria, is currently a psychological well-being practitioner with Mercy Care NHS Foundation Trust in the United Kingdom. He's right now based in Liverpool. So alongside this, he's a low-intensity CBT at Liverpool John Moores University, striving to empower individuals to make meaningful impact in mental health care. And the conversation we want to have today is strictly directed at educators, okay? Let me see if I can get him to come into the room right now and unmute himself. Goodness Bamidele, welcome. Let's welcome Mr. Goodness Bamidele into the room. Do we have him here? Let me get him to unmute himself to speak. Okay. Coming right about now. Yeah, and so the conversation we want to have today is really pertinent because somebody sent me a video. One of my ambassadors sent me a video not too long ago about a student who beat up a teacher, and the teacher had to be rushed to the classroom, rushed to the hospital, all right, because survived some injuries. And then you see some teachers also molesting students. There's a trending video about a couple of weeks ago where a teacher was beating a 2-year-old or 5-year-old boy. I think another ambassador sent that to me. And so you see teachers really demonstrating really violent behavior. Some of them are giving up, they are quitting. They can't stand this again. And so we want to approach the conversation from a psychological standpoint. What can SEL offer us, all right? Especially in this volatile world. The word VUCA is volatile, uncertain, is complex, is ambiguous, is disruptive, all right? What are the principles of emotion management that can help you as an educator? Hearing from a psychologist, what principles can help us be able to manage our emotions better in the classroom in a world that is it's getting mad and getting crazy out there, and teachers, educators have a lot of responsibility. How can we better manage our emotions, essentially? Okay, let's welcome Goodness Bamidele right now. Can you hear us, Goodness? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you in the room.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Yes. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Have you been following the session so far? Has it been awesome so far?
Yeah, it's been very insightful. I've jotted a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've heard about the concept of social awareness, self-awareness. Those are quite good concepts.
Yes.
Good concepts. I'm
happy
to be here.
Awesome. Let's dive right into the conversation right now. You are a psychologist, and you've shared with me over the years about some of the things you've done to calm your patients down. All right, you've studied this in school and you've practiced it in your workplace. You've done a lot of things with your clients that are raving mad, getting angry, and all of that, and you found strategies to really calm them down. What is the literature saying? What practical techniques can individuals use to regulate their emotions and maintain mental clarity when navigating the unpredictable environment? Right now in Nigeria, unemployment high, inflation high, and then parents are shouting, "You're not teaching my students well." So teachers are under pressure, educators are under pressure. So how can they better manage their emotions so that they don't beat up a child to death? They don't get angry and, it's a chaos in the school, the chaos in the classroom. What practical techniques can you prefer and provide to educators listening to you this morning? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's an important question. So like you mentioned, we live in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, where if I'm to just analyze in terms of educators, sometimes you have like a well-planned lesson. Next thing, the technology crashes. there's a student crisis, you've got like new policies, new school policies. So the school environment, the world generally can be unpredictable. And in terms of emotions they are basically part of why we are human. But sometimes when we face a particular challenge, it pushes us to the wall. Then our emotions rise. Then the instinct is to react. Our instinct is to react instantly, and this often leads to frustration. So, in terms of practical techniques, what I would say first is there's this rule called the 3-second rule, which talks about when you are stressed, you take a deep breath and silently count 1, 2, 3 before responding to a situation. So you respond but don't react. So that's the first point I'm going to mention. So instead of just reacting instinctively, you just take 3-second pause. You count 1, 2, 3, then you now respond. For example, let me give you a practical example. A student arrives late to class for the third time this week, maybe, and walks in casually without apologizing. Your first instinct is to scold them immediately and say, okay, get out of my class. But when you take a deep breath and do the technique 1, 2, 3, then it gives you time to process the information. So instead of saying, get out of my class, you can calmly say to them, you've been late a few times now. Let's discuss after class why this is happening and how we can fix it. So that gives you the time to be able to process that information instead of reacting instinctively. So the second thing I'm going to mention in terms of practical technique is labeling the emotion. So most times we just say, I am tired, I am stressed. So instead of saying that, you would rather say, I feel stressed, I feel tired, I feel overwhelmed. So don't just say I am tired, because once you label the emotion, it reduces the intensity of the emotion. So for example, in terms of classroom, I'll always cite an example. Maybe the students are making noise and all that. Instead of saying this class is out of control, I'm going to snap out. I feel I am overwhelmed. You can just say, I am feeling overwhelmed. Let me take a deep breath and rest and reset. So label the emotion. Don't just, so I will just name you call it name it to tame it. So instead of letting your emotions run wide, you name the emotions, it reduces the intensity, then you're able to assess the situation better. So the next technique is just talking about box breathing. So this is just like a breathing exercise where you just reset yourself in terms of when you feel agitated, you could inhale for 4 seconds, hold the breathing for 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, then repeat this cycle 3 to 4 times. So maybe, for example, you want to face parents, or you have a pressure meeting with parents or administrators. You can do this exercise. You can take 30 seconds to do this exercise. Just inhale 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, then hold that for another 4 seconds. Just then repeat that cycle. So the final thing I will talk about briefly is the third technique is reframe the challenge. That means you shift from, instead of saying, when you have a situation, instead of focusing on the problem, you just focus on the next action, like the solution. So instead of saying this is too much, I can't handle it, so you can say this is a challenge, but I can take it one step at a time. So it's just reframing those words. So because I use cognitive behavioral therapy in my work as a therapist, so we believe that your thought process has an effect on your emotions, how you feel. Like in the words of William Shakespeare, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So perception goes a whole lot of the way you frame things in your mind, what you tell yourself. So when you tell yourself this is too much, so instead of telling yourself this is too much, you can say this is a challenge, but I can take it one step at a time. Then I'll quickly chip in the fourth and the fifth technique. The fourth one is just setting micro boundaries. So what do I mean by micro boundaries? When you have a class, you can do like a 5 minutes break in between your lessons just to take a drink or just take a walk, just to refresh before engaging in the next lesson. Then when you are off work, you shouldn't respond to mail. Just maintain your energy, protect your energy. This makes you to become an effective teacher.
Wow. Practical strategies. Wow. I hope we're all taking so much notes here. Some of the things I've never heard before that I need to begin to even practice and utilize. It's the 3-second rule, labeling the emotion, which is a big deal in SEL. When we teach students about labeling emotion, that's under self-awareness, understanding the emotion you are feeling. But now we are focused on the teachers, not the students now. It's you now, because you need to be able to manage your own emotion. Reframing the challenge, the power of words. Just a couple of days ago, I shared with an audience about the power of words, what you say with your mouth, all right? No matter how crazy the classroom is getting, you need to be able to speak the right words, all right? So very practical and helpful strategies, okay? And these are things you can begin to practice Monday morning. Now, because of time, I'm going to go to the second question. Hopefully, if we have more time, I'll take the last one. But can you share with us the insight on the role of self-compassion in managing stress? Teachers need to, give themselves some grace and some space. Okay, give yourself some. You're doing so much, but can you just share with us from your own experience how teachers can demonstrate self-compassion in managing stress, in managing their emotions, especially for leaders and professionals? Some people here in the room, they are not even teachers or educators, but they are feeling overwhelmed. How can we show ourselves some grace, all right, in the workplace?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is also a very important question. I would like to use myself as a practical example. When I feel, because I work in a very challenging, like very pressured setting, where we have different like patients coming in, you have to attend to different patients within a short period of time. So sometimes you tend to make mistakes and you feel like, oh, I've made this mistake, and you criticize yourself and you make more mistakes. So in terms of self-compassion, what you do is just treating yourself. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you show to, in my own case, to my patients. I am empathetic, I listen to their problems, I guide them. So in terms of educators, treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you show to your students. So it's basically, in terms of practical techniques, the first thing I would say is speak to yourself like you would to a student. So instead of saying, of course, you wouldn't want to say to a student, you are not good enough. Like in my case, I can't say to my patients, you are not good enough. I wouldn't highlight the problem. Is to provide, I act like a coach to guide them to solving that problem. So in the same vein, as a teacher, you shouldn't speak to yourself harshly. This basically talks about self-talk. What do you say to yourself? You can always tell yourself it's okay to make mistakes. Learning is a process. So you apply the same technique, the same thing that you apply to your student, you apply to yourself. So that's the first step. So the second tip I would talk about is break free from the perfect teacher myth. So the perfect teacher myth is all about, I must be there for everyone. I must do everything for everyone. I must handle myself well, because you see yourself like a superior and the student as inferior. Not necessarily in that you see yourself because you are knowledgeable, but tell yourself you can make mistakes. You can always tell yourself, instead of saying I should have handled that better, next time you can say I will try a different approach. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't have that, I have to be perfect for the students. No, perfection is impossible and mistakes are part of the growth. So just break free from the perfect teacher myth. Then the third one, which I'll quickly run through, is to set boundaries to protect your well-being. I touched on that earlier on. No grading, no emails, no thinking about school when you are outside school environment, or just when you're at home, be at home. When you're at work, separate, have a work-life balance. So take a walk, just do things that will increase your well-being. Then the fourth technique is normalize asking for help. You know, some people will just feel we have the wealth of knowledge, we can teach our students, but you can actually learn from other teachers. It's okay to ask questions. Allow yourself the grace to like ask questions. You can even choose a colleague, a trusted colleague or a mentor. You can call them compassion buddy. So you could check in weekly with that person, share your challenges without guilt. Then in terms of celebrate small wins together. So have a compassion buddy, somebody you can reflect with. Like in my service in Liverpool, they always tell us if you are going through, maybe you feel the therapy is like too much, you are having difficulties, don't take the burden home. Share it with a colleague, talk to somebody, always pour your heart out. With is the form of, we call it debriefing. When you have like a challenging session and it's taking too much toll on you, because of course you are humans, you have mental health. When you share with another person, the problem becomes easier. You become light. It's like just sharing your burden with another person. So normalize asking for help. So you are not alone in this journey. You've got other teachers with you. Then, so that is just, those are like the 4
That's a
practical
lot.
techniques.
That's a lot already. Can we give it up for Mr. Goodness Bamidele? I'm so proud. That's my brother right there, folks. I'm excited. We have my siblings also in the room. I think my mom and dad are also right now connected to this call. So shout out to my parents, Reverend and Reverend Mrs. Samuel Bamidele. They are right here on the call. So I'm sure they are proud to see us doing this together. My sister is right there. Fumilayo Wabumas just posted in the chat room. I think I see Patience also somewhere. But it's a family affair right here. These are things that we're passionate about. You can see that it's not just me preaching the conversation. My sister as well, she was once a speaker at the very first edition of the conference. Fumilayo Wobomans, she's right here on the call as well. She delivered a session in 2021. So hopefully we'll have her back again soon. But can we just say thank you to goodness? These are practical insights that he has shared. I have 2 or 3 more questions, but we can't go there now because of time. But I just really want to thank you, brother, for sharing so practically and so insightfully. I can see that people really appreciated the insight you shared with them, and they can see things that they can use in class, in their personal lives as well, not just in class. Like you've heard from Korede, I experienced being able to stay resilient, being able to manage your emotion. You don't break down with all that is going on in a VUCA world. Okay, VUCA is volatile, is uncertain, is complex, is ambiguous, and is disruptive. But with these skills that you have been armed with today, I'm sure that you are well equipped if you practice them. Remember, the value of what you learn is not just in the knowledge, but it's in the practice. So once again, thank you so much, Goodness. We look forward to having you again for a much more elaborate session.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be part of this event.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, now we are in the home stretch right now. We have less than 5 minutes to round off. And just before we round off, we want to spotlight one more ambassador, okay, in the SEL program, just to share so that you can be excited about Marquillos Foundation and what we are doing in the space. And to introduce this ambassador, I'm going to call on Mofin Foluafani, who is also an executive member of Marquillos Foundation, to just sort of welcome her on board and let's just hear from her very briefly, and then we would begin to round off for the day, okay? And then we have the feedback form in the chat room. Let's hear from you. And be ready to turn on your camera. You're going to take a group picture at the end, okay? So if you want to get dressed, do that right now. So, but let's turn over to Mofin Foluafani right now. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Everyone can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good morning, afternoon, evening. I don't know. This is a global conference, so good hello to everyone from around the world, and Mommy and Daddy Bamidele as well. So what an amazing job that Peace and the team have done so far. I'm really blown away. I was even considering, switching career paths to contribute to this greatness that is happening. But yeah, it's been an inspiring session. Thank you to the amazing speakers. It's been insightful. It's been amazing. The words have truly deepened our understanding of social emotional learning and its impact on education. And this conversation brought me to relate my field, which is business and marketing, to SEL, and basically how marketing and, audience engagement strategy strategies can inspire educators to build stronger emotional connections with students. Marketing is about understanding your audience, speaking to their emotions, building relationships that last. And I believe in many ways, and from everything we've heard today, this mirrors what great educators do as well in their everyday lives when they apply strategies like storytelling, personalization, active listening in classrooms. So it's not just about delivering content or educational materials. It's about creating experiences that really resonate, making students feel seen, feel heard, and feel valued. And with that in mind, I'm honored to introduce someone who has used social and emotional learning practically, and she's one of the beneficiaries of the Marquillos Foundation Mentoring Program in 2023, and she's going to share how SEL has reshaped her educational perspective. Welcome, Funmilayo. Is Funmilayo here? Funmilayo Badere.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes, please.
over to you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's actually been a very wonderful conference, SEL conference. I'm most delighted to be here. And very quickly, I just want to talk of how I have been able to leverage SEL in the classroom. Currently, I'm the academics head in Kings and Queens International School in Nasarawa State. I'm a resident in FCT Abuja. The first thing I did after I took the SEL course in August 2023 was that I made up my mind that as much as possible, I'll get the team of educators I work with to also take the course, because I saw the impact and I made up my mind that this is not just for me to have a forward-thinking team, for me to be able to integrate SEL into the various classrooms, then we have to get our team on board. And yes, we've been able to do that gradually. Some of my colleagues have been able to take the SEL program. Also, it has helped us in forming our assembly pep talk, taking into cognizance the soft skills, social skills that SEL brings on board. This guides us in forming some of our assembly pep talk to mirror, to actually give us time to talk to our learners about how they can become emotionally smart, Okay, also how we've been able to leverage it in our summer program, not just in Kings and Queens, in schools that I consult for. We have been able to do SEL mini program, boot camp as it were, for learners. And I remember this morning when I started the conference and the opening speech was being taken, she spoke about social awareness. And then my 8-year-old daughter came to me and said, "Mommy, that was what you taught us in summer, the last holiday program, So we inculcate SEL into our summer program. It's non-academic. And we try to bring it on board. And thank God for the resources we have on the Marquillos platform. You have no excuse not to integrate it into the classroom. Okay, also as an educator, because I work with other educators and I've seen how stressed educators can be. Thank God for the last session taken by Mr. Goodness. He talked about how we can manage our stress. For me, personally, as an educator, particularly in SEL, I learned about self-awareness and how to know my stress triggers. When I know what triggers me, I'm able to manage it. And that way I'm able to deliver more because I try to stay out of when I see this thing, I know this thing stresses me as an administrator. I don't work when my table is jam-packed and full. It's a stress trigger for me. And so SEL brought that into the limelight for me. I identified this and I work consistently on that. I make sure I decluster my space so I can deliver better. These and many more that time will not allow me to talk about, but I want to say that SEL is priceless, SEL is real, SEL is live. Integrating it into the classroom is fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariah. That was interesting to hear. I like that you formed, a forward-thinking team. I enjoyed, you talking about the SEL bootcamp and how you use pep talks, to make students more emotionally intelligent, and also how you manage stress, which is part of what Goodness Bamidele spoke about earlier. So This has been amazing. It's been great. It's been impactful. I'll just pass it on to Peace to round up.
Thank you, Fumi and Fumilayo. That is amazing. I mean, Fumilayo is somebody who I work with repeatedly. She's very excited about SEL. She reaches out to me or what she's doing with SEL. This is what motivates me to keep going, really. When I see that because of what we've done, people are taking this further. It's really exciting. That's why we wanted to spotlight some of the ambassadors. In the next section, which is the announcement section, as we're rounding off now, give us about less than 10 minutes to just round this off. Don't run away. We have just some announcements to share with you. We're going to talk a bit more about the SEL program because I know some of you have been asking questions. Okay, so the announcement now is going to be taken by a dear friend and sister, Gbemisola Joel Oshoba, who is also an executive member of Marquillos Foundation. But before I pass it on to her, I want to say thank you again to Fee and Fumilayo. Great job over there. And I just want to also mention that the ambassadors are over 100 now. Okay, these are just two people we've spotlighted. They are over 100. Most of them are on this call. And then the work is just going on, all right? But let's pass it on to Gbemi right now to say a bit more about Marquillos Foundation, how you can follow us and follow the conversation going forward, and a bit more about the Ambassadors Program. Over to you, Gbemisola. I think you're muted. Okay, over to you now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Peace. And thank you, everyone. I hope it's been amazing for you as it has been for me. So I'm not a teacher in my day job, but I actually teach in my local church. And believe me when I tell you that I usually leave this conference with a lot of lessons. Last year, this year, it's always wonderful. So I hope your notebook is full of key actions to take after it. So I'll just quickly run us through our announcement today, this afternoon. Just coming off what Peace was just saying, the Marquillos Foundation has a website, and it's a platform that has a lot of resources for you. So the lessons we've learned doesn't just end here. We can go on after this conference, go to the website, check it for different resources that you can make use of in your day-to-day, even beyond your teaching roles, with your relationship with others. And if you see to the right of your screen on the website, there's a search button. You can always go click on that button, search for put in key words that you like to learn more about relating to SEL, and all of those things that we've been learning, and you will find a lot of resources. And that takes me to our next slide, which is a very important book written by our very own Peace Bamidele, The Learning That Matters. It's a very important tool, a guide that you can use as a teacher regarding social and emotional learning in your classrooms with your students. So you want to download these resources. It's free on the website. So go on there, download it, make good use of it, read it. The Learning That Matters, very important for you. And I also like to talk about an upcoming program. Oh, before that, just to highlight again that we are very active on social media, different social media platforms, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So you want to make sure to follow us on those platforms at Marquillos FDN, Marquillos Foundation. You'll find us on those platforms. So engage us, go on the website, on the platforms. We will be sharing key learnings from the conference today. Engage those posts, reshare them, follow us, most importantly, if you haven't, on those platforms. So I would also like to talk about an upcoming SEL Ambassadors Program. We've highlighted some of our ambassadors from this program today. You've learned a lot of what they do. You can also partake in this. It's a cohort-based ambassadors program that is very important for you to participate in. It's virtual. Remember what I think her name was, Peace or something. I can't remember her name. All of the exciting things she was saying, that how SEL has transformed her life. So that could be you next year that we are highlighting at the conference. So please go on and register on the Marquillos Foundation website. You would learn more about this upcoming ambassador program on there. And lastly, there is an upcoming teachers conference that will be holding later in the year, in September. Is in partnership with one of us here. So Please participate if you're in Lagos, especially. It's going to be holding in Lagos. We are trying to gather, it's going to be the largest gathering of teachers in the world. We are aiming for 60,000 plus teachers. So be a part of history. Register to be a part of this attempt at breaking the Guinness World Records. So if you're in Lagos, especially, you want to join that. And I will just end on that note and hand over to Mr. Peace Bamidele.
Thank you so much, Wemisola, for that. Very expertly done, as always. Thank you for always being available to join us in the conference. You have said a lot. If you want to learn about Maquilos Foundation, please visit the website. You can download the book at on the website for free. Okay, I wrote that book in 2021 to offer educators in Nigeria practical insights. You see a lot of strategies. It's a book of strategies and insights on how to embed SEL skills. So just go to the website, go to the search button, and then you find it for free. And then also when she talked about the ambassadors program, it's not happening until August, okay? August is when it is happening, because right now we want you to use what you have learned. All right, go and practice those ones first. Before now, we usually would have the ambassadors program right after the conference, but we now want to manage our schedules properly and also give you time to practice what you've learned. All right, in this conference, so many insights have been shared today. So for the next couple of months, see how you can practice this insight, and then in the month of July, the ambassadors program will open, registration for it will open, and then you can now register for that one. We have just about 20 people that we select every year. And so this is from the last session. This is the number of people we exceeded 20, but we want to keep it very small. And all these teachers have been certified. So, and then of course, this program, our dear friend, Mr. Olua Sheyani Fowoshe is hosting this. It's aiming to set a Guinness World Record. My friend has said, Wemisola has said that already, but please register if you're in Lagos or even outside of Lagos. All right, I think he's on this call as well. But please register for this event. It's going to be a record-breaking event. Mr. Oluwase is also a board member of Maquilos Foundation. We're honored to partner with him to do this and amplify the work. To close us out today, all right, we're 7 minutes beyond time, but I believe it has been valued for your time so far. We're going to call on a dear friend of mine who's going to give us the closing remarks. Mrs. Iroro Oyerana Meadow is a senior special assistant to the Delta State Governor on Women Mobilization. I've worked with her for the last 4 or 5 years. She's a board member as well of Maquilos Foundation. And I'm just so incredibly excited that she's consistently showing up. She's an educator. She has a school. All right. She has been certified as well by Maquilos Foundation through the Ambassadors Program. So, but it's my joy and honor to bring to the podium to give us the closing remarks. And then we take pictures after. Be ready to turn on your camera. We take pictures after, and I'll announce the next date for the conference. So, but please, for now, over to you, Mrs. Zoro, for our short closing remarks to just thank our speakers and appreciate their work so far. Mrs. Zoro, over to you, ma'am. Do we have? Yes.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Sorry,
yes.
My good to have everyone. A big congratulations for all the conference. In fact, right now, everyone just go to the chat box and put out emojis. Special appreciation to Mr. Peace and the Maquilos Foundation for everything that they are doing. Congratulations, everyone. It's great to be here. Can you hear me very well?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so very much. I really want to appreciate each and every one here for finding time to come here. Special acknowledgement to our speakers. A great gratitude to everyone. Our board chairman, she was amazing. Thank you so much, Ma. In fact, I really liked the angle that she came from when she talked about, we as educators being the role model, and Rhoda also said this also, that beyond what we are giving, we have to be very impactful ourselves as educators, as SEL ambassadors and all that. We have to be intentional about building ourselves. And I really want to appreciate each and every one of us for taking our time. And it actually calls for action, And like what our third speaker, he was talking about, that's Mr. Kwefa. I guess I got that right. When he talked about us being practical, practice. Build your story. And I always love the angle SEL, as in Maquilos always goes. It gives us practical strategies. As you are here right now, beyond the words that you are hearing, these are action points. And he talked about building your story. You know, he talked about preparing for opportunities, you know, and collaboration. I just believe right now that, in fact, before you leave this conference, please just get someone's number, get someone's email, go into the social media platform. Just be intentional about doing this. We are the change that the world needs. Okay, build relationship. I really love what Korede, you know, her personal story when she, you know, shared it and all that. For me personally, it was like, see, I mean, what is there not to love about SCL? Because beyond the change and transformation we are having globally, even in our personal lives, like for me personally, you know, Mr. Peace, when there was it 2019 when we did the Soft Skill Academy, yeah. And yes, I said I was even going to encourage you to, you know, when we talked about emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, you know, adaptability, and you know, these are the things that we as SCL ambassadors, we actually need. And really, I just really want to, you know, just hearing all the amazing speakers talking, I really want to also encourage Macwillows, if we can actually get that back, you know, for our teachers actually having that particular, the academy, whereby we teach, you know, it's like teaching the teachers right now. Thank God for the conference coming up and all that. You know, we really need to build and equip ourselves for the world, the challenging world. Thank God for Mr. Goodness, when, you know, from the psychological aspect, whereby, yes, so it's very important that we actually respond rather than react, because the case of mental health is on the high rising, and, you know, the amazing things that he said. So I really want to appreciate each and every one of us. This is a call to action. In fact, beyond, I really want to charge everyone, even before the next conference, have a success story. See, when promised, these are SCL ambassadors. They are sharing their success story. You know, in church, we'll say testimony time, breakthrough time, you know. And yes, and what I said on the chat was like, SCL works. SCL is working. SCL is transformational. Let us personalize this thing. SCL works. SCL is working. And that change that you need, both in your personal life, in your career, like what Rhoda was saying, that SCL has even gone beyond the classrooms. Now we're talking about the workplace. We are talking about global impact. And really, the change that we desire in our world, it begins with us. That's why I love what our prof said when she was like, be the role model, be the change that you want to see. And, you know, special thanks to even our fireside anchors and everyone. In fact, a round of applause for yourselves for coming this far. Congratulations to Macwillows Foundation, Mr. Peace, and the Bamidele dynasty. Congratulations, everyone. And I hope to see you next year. Please, let's not take this lightly at all. SCL is the future. SCL is, in fact, for me personally in Delta State right now, there's a whole lot that we are doing. And personally, I just even set up a consultancy firm, Gayuma Consults, in line with the school. And this is what we are implementing, the self-awareness, creating awareness of SCL. Thank you so very much, each and every one of us, for joining. And I hope to see us and hear more stories. Mr. Peace, congratulations.
Thank you.
God bless you all, everyone.
Very well done. Thank you for your support always. Appreciate you. Thank you. Can we give it up for Mrs. Zoro in the chat room and just thank and appreciate her, even as we bring the conference to a close. I know that we have posted in the chat room repeatedly. All right, please, we need your feedback. So if we can just post it again right now, can you go to that link? All right, we want to hear from you. That is the link right there. Please put your feedback. We want to hear from you. These are the things that encourage us to want to do more or even do better so that we can improve on an area. That is SCL, feedback, receiving feedback. So please, let's hear your comments. Let's hear your perspective in that chat room. The feedback has been posted. So right about now, I want us to take a picture together, or rather, let me do that after I say the following things, okay? I want to first of all, again, thank you. Mrs. Zoro has done this. All the speakers have been exceptional today, all right? They were chosen intentionally, they were chosen meaningfully, and they have delivered exceptionally well. And I want to thank them for doing good justice to the topic. Special thank you to board chair, Professor Mrs. Oyenika Adeosun. She's been here all through the day from the very beginning. That's how supportive she is. And I really just thank you for being a sounding board again and a support structure to getting this work going. Again, special shout out to all the doctors and teachers and professors from University of Lagos and other schools who have joined today to be part of this session. I also want to say special thank you to the team, okay, for putting this together, all the executive members, all the anchors who have led today, Ms. Olayinka Adebayo, Ms. Korede, and also Fani, everybody who has contributed to the success of today's event, Ms. Bemisola. Thank you so much for your diligence and all the ambassadors that we spotlighted. I also want to say thank you to my family members for joining in. My dad and mom are here. My sisters, my siblings, they're all over the room. Thank you for showing support and for showing up strongly today as well. And then, of course, I want to thank God for making today a success. A lot of prayers have gone into this. I just want to thank you all for thank God for making this a success. Everything has been planned since last year, November. But I just thank God for making it possible. Finally, I want to thank God for my wife. Okay, she's in the background, back end, doing exceptional work. Mrs. Oluwafoyinsola Peace Bamidele. You can see her picture right there in the screen. She's not doing. You won't hear her, but she's the brain behind many things happening that you can see right now. So I want you to acknowledge her and thank her for her exceptional work. And for the support over the years. It's been two of us rocking and rolling since we started Makulos Foundation in 2020, just getting the encouragement and just keep the work going. So I want to thank you all once again. And as we come to a close, I want to announce that next year's conference is happening on the 7th of March, okay? March 7, 2026. Get ready. It's going to be another exciting and informative and memorable and historic time that we're going to have together. But for now, I want to charge you to go ahead and do what you have learned, all right? The value of knowledge is in the practice. I keep saying that anytime, all right? There's so much value that has been shared, but all of that will be forgotten, will go to waste if you don't do something with it. So I want to say, go right now, Monday morning, even if it's just one thing that you practice, go get it done. All right, and the Lord will be with you. All right, as we round off, please turn on your cameras. We want to take videos. We want to take a picture. Let me remove pain so that we can see the screen of many of you. We want to take a picture. This is the last thing we are going to do so that we can all post this on the screen. So if you can turn on your cameras, that would be incredibly helpful and very helpful. So yeah, for those of you, I can see your beautiful faces. And please don't forget the feedback form as well. All right. Maquilo's team can take a picture of that. I'm also taking a picture right now with your beautiful smiles. All right. Great, great, great. Let me take one more and then we call it a day. Okay, one more coming, one more loading. Just a minute. Awesome. Okay. Thank you all so much for today. I want to say thank you. Go and shine, go and excel, go and succeed, go and be an exceptional educator because all learning is social and all learning is emotional. God bless you and have a great year ahead of you. All right. Thank you so much.